Chapter 1349. Chapter 1349. Chapter 1349 Fusion. The scroll in Jean Lan's hand was her trump card. It was the trump card she had always been fearless about. The scroll was an ancient scroll, and the might of its explosion was terrifying. Even a 9th grade Earth Sovereign might not be able to survive the explosion. However, the scroll was a one-time use item. As long as his opponent could dodge it, Jean Lan would have no more trump cards left. Therefore, unless it was a matter of life and death, Jean Lan would never use the scroll. The current situation was not dangerous enough for Jean Lan, because Ningyu could still persevere. What a freak! Jean Lan muttered as he took a few steps back. Ding! In midair, Ningyu held the Red Fiend's sword as he fought Di Chong for dozens of rounds. Neither of them could do a thing to the other. As expected of an existence on the must-kill list, he does have some skill. Di Chang's expression was extremely grim. After dozens of exchanges, Di Chong had already determined that there was a huge gap between him and Ningyu. If not for Di Hua and the others helping him, he would have been killed long ago. How is it? Can you subdue him? Ningyu couldn't be bothered with Di Chong. Although he was fighting with Di Chong, his attention was on the scarred wolf. The dark gold profound tiger was even more terrifying than the bloodthirsty wild wolves. A single dark gold profound tiger could kill several bloodthirsty wild wolves. If he could capture the dark gold profound tiger while it was heavily injured, it would be a rare trump card for Ningyu. We can't. He's too strong, and he has a lot of battle experience. We can only defend, but we can't subdue him, the scarred wolf replied. It could be seen that the scarred wolf was having a hard time. If the dark gold profound tiger hadn't been injured, he and the bloodthirsty mad wolf would have been killed long ago. Damn it! Ningyu cursed inwardly. At the same time, he hurriedly contacted the spatial laws, telling him to cut open space as soon as possible and think of a way to escape. Give me 5 minutes. The indifferent voice of the law of space resounded in Ningyu's mind. Kill! Ningyu was not an indecisive person. Since he couldn't leave in 5 minutes, he decided to take action first. He waved the Red Fiend's sword in his hand and several sword rays shot out, slashing at Di Chong. Whoosh! 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 3 pinnacle 9th grade human supremacies rushed out and stood in front of Di Chong. Chi! The sword rays that Ningyu sent out were blocked by 3 9th grade human sovereigns. I have 3 helpers. How are you going to fight me? The corners of Di Chang's lips curled up as he said sinisterly, This shall be your burial ground. This, 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 good timing. This, 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 I, this, 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 buzz. On the other side, an illusory figure appeared and gradually became real. What a coincidence, that's just my afterimage. Ningyu suddenly appeared behind the 3 peerless experts from Emperor God Palace. Not good, retreat quickly. Di Chang's expression changed drastically when he saw Ningyu's location, and he hurriedly called out, Pu Pu Pu. However, Di Chang's warning was a beat too late. Ningyu wielded the red demon sword and slashed out 3 times in a row. Without a doubt, Ningyu did not hold back. Each of the 3 swords was aimed at the heart of a 9th grade human sovereign. Seeing that Ningyu had killed 3 of his companions with 3 strikes, Di Chong let out a hysterical roar. Di Chong was filled with regret. He regretted trying to be clever. If he hadn't wanted to show off and ambush Ningyu, the three geniuses from Emperor God Palace wouldn't have been killed. However, it was all over now. Di Chang knew that he had to salvage the situation. Fight. Clenching his teeth, Di Chang took out a white elixir from his pocket and threw it into his mouth. Crack. The elixir shattered and entered his stomach. Rumble. Di Chang's aura began to surge. Pinnacle 9th grade human sovereign, half-step Earth Supreme. Boom. Along with that muffled sound, Di Chang's aura had already broken through his limits and reached the 1st grade Earth Sovereign realm. Di Chang was originally only a Pinnacle 9th grade human sovereign, far weaker than Ningyu. If he fought with Ningyu, he would definitely be killed. But now, his aura had risen to 1st grade Earth Supreme, and his strength had increased by several times. I'll take your life. Di Chang was more confident now that his aura had increased. Di Chang's figure dashed out and appeared before Ningyu in the blink of an eye. He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched towards Ningyu's head with a violent yuan qi gale. Di Chang's punch could be said to be the most powerful punch he could execute at this stage. If that punch failed to kill Ningyu, Di Chang would definitely turn around and leave. He would not stay any longer. Do you want to fight me? Ningyu's eyes narrowed as he looked at the approaching fist. The yuan qi in his sea of consciousness began to tumble and wrap around his right fist. Whoosh! In the next moment, Ningyu bent his knee slightly and punched out with his right fist. The wind from the punch howled and dispersed the air, leaving a vacuum in the middle. Bang! A crisp sound rang out. Ningyu and Di Chang took a few steps back at the same time and retreated to the edge of the hall. Both sides were evenly matched in this exchange. No one could do anything to the other. He can even fight a 1st grade Earth Supreme? Jin Lan was shocked. Jin Lan knew that Ningyu was strong and that Ningyu could fight 4 people at once, but he did not expect Ningyu to be so strong that he could fight a 1st grade Earth Supreme. That was an Earth Supreme, not an ordinary human Supreme. There was an insurmountable gap between an Earth Supreme and a human Supreme. It could be said that 10 Pinnacle 9th grade Earth Supremes might not be a match for a 1st grade Earth Supreme. This huge gap was easily filled by Ningyu. Moreover, Ningyu was not even a Pinnacle 9th grade Earth Supreme. He was just an ordinary 7th grade Earth Supreme. This is impossible. No one was more shocked than Di Chang. In the past, whenever Di Chang encountered an opponent he could not defeat, he would swallow elixirs to raise his aura to that of a 1st grade Earth Supreme. This method had been effective time and time again. Who would have thought that he would fail this time and be blocked by Ningyu? I admit that you are strong, but the next move will definitely. Di Chang took a deep breath and said coldly. Definitely my A*S. Take this. Ningyu's tone was cold. He held the myriad bone flame in his left hand and the myriad beast flame in his right. Under Di Chang's horrified gaze, Ningyu fused the 2 flames together. Go! As Ningyu uttered the word go, a bewitching flame roared and charged at Di Chang. Sizzle! 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 Wherever the flames passed, the air was completely scorched, emitting a sizzling sound. What the hell is that? Chapter 1350. Attack. Something that will take your life. Ningyu's eyes glinted with a cold light. He stomped on the ground and chased after her. Although the myriad bestial flame and myriad bone flame were extremely powerful and could contend against a 1st grade Earth Supreme, Di Chang's aura was also that of a 1st grade Earth Supreme. To ensure that nothing went wrong, Ningyu held the Red Fiend's sword and injected the primordial energy in his sea of consciousness into it before slashing at Di Chang. Hit the snake where it hurts, don't hold back. Since he had decided to kill Di Chang, Ningyu would definitely not hold back. Arg! The flames in Di Chang's eyes grew bigger and bigger. In the end, the flames suddenly exploded and hit Di Chang's heart. A miserable shriek came from Di Chang's mouth. Rumble! Then, the flames drilled into Di Chang's body and rammed around. Get out! Di Chang yelled, trying to force the flames out of his body. However, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't do it. Moreover, Ningyu had also arrived in front of him. He waved the Red Fiend's sword in his hand and fought with Di Chang. The flames in Di Chang's body were wreaking havoc, but he still had to face Ningyu's fierce attacks. Soon, Di Chang couldn't hold on any longer and was stabbed by Ningyu repeatedly. Di Chang's face turned extremely ugly as blood continued to drip from his body. Di Chang thought that he could kill Ningyu when his aura was strengthened to that of a first-grade Earth Supreme. However, the current situation had exceeded Di Chang's expectations, and he felt like he was being f***ed. You forced me to do this. Di Chang clenched his teeth, and the Yuan Qi in his consciousness surged out, forming a layer of Yuan Qi barrier around him. Get out! Di Chang yelled. He even burned his blood essence to force the flames out of his body. Qi. Qi. Outside the Yuan Qi barrier, every strike from Ningyu caused the Yuan Qi barrier to tremble and show signs of shattering. At this rate, it wouldn't take long for the Yuan Qi barrier to shatter. When that happened, the consequences would be unimaginable if Di Chang failed to force out the flames in his body. Absolute defense. Ningyu did not forcefully attack Di Chang when he saw a protective Yuan Qi barrier appear around him. Instead, he took a few steps back. In order to defend against Ningyu's attack, Di Chang had paid a huge price. This level of defense had a huge impact on one's body. It would be fine if he succeeded, but if he failed, Di Chang would be completely doomed. There would be no chance of him surviving. Roar! While Di Chang was doing his best to force back the flames in his body, the battle on the other side was already tilting. The dark gold mystical tiger raised its head and roared. Seizing a rare opportunity, it swung its front claws and grabbed the back of the bloodthirsty berserk wolf. Whoosh! A large piece of flesh was torn off. Immediately after, the dark gold mystic tiger swung its tail and ruthlessly whipped the scarred wolf's hind leg. Kacha! A crisp sound rang out. The scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf staggered and nearly fell. Oh no! Ningyu gritted his teeth when he saw the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf's tragic state and secretly communicated with the myriad bestial flame and myriad bone flame. Let's go! At the same time, Ningyu's figure flashed and he quickly swept past the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf. With the help of spatial laws, Ningyu grabbed the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf with each hand and quickly entered the void, disappearing completely. Wait for me. Jin Lan was alarmed when he saw Ningyu leave. He hurriedly used a secret technique and disappeared behind Ningyu. If someone as strong as Ningyu chose to leave, Jin Lan would definitely die if he stayed. Chi. After Ningyu and company left, the myriad bestial flame and myriad bone flame rushed out of Di Chang's body and made a turn in midair before tearing through the void and chasing after Ningyu and company. Roar! The dark gold mystic tiger roared angrily when it was about to kill the two wolves, only to be rescued by a human. However, the tiger seemed to be more concerned about the altar and did not chase after them. Give me the sovereign blood essence. Although the tiger was furious, it did not lose its mind. This hall was very special and it could not leave even if it wanted to. Unless it recovered to the 6th grade Earth Supreme level, it would never be able to leave this hall. Lord Dark Gold Mystic Tiger, the sovereign blood essence was taken by Ningyu. Di Chang was extremely weak at the moment. If it wasn't for the tiger, he would have been tortured by the flames. Even though the flames had receded, Di Chang's internal organs were still severely injured. It would be difficult for him to recover without a year and a half. What? The tiger's eyes widened when it heard Di Chang's words. It said coldly, "The sovereign blood essence was taken? What are you doing? I'll give you an hour. No matter what, you must take the sovereign blood essence. Otherwise, I'll swallow you alive." The dark gold mystic tiger was extremely furious. He wasn't worried that the two bloodthirsty berserk wolves had left, because they wouldn't be able to escape from his grasp. He had already left a mark on Scar and the wolves during the battle. As long as he found the mark, he could easily find the wolves. But now, the dark gold mystic tiger wanted to swallow Di Chang alive. The sovereign blood essence was the key to him recovering to the 6th grade Earth Supreme level. Without the sovereign blood essence, he would never be able to leave this place. Lord Dark Gold Mystic Tiger, don't worry. I'll definitely find the sovereign blood essence for you, Di Chang said in a trembling voice. He did not even dare to speak loudly. What are you waiting for? Roared the dark gold profound tiger. Yes. Di Chang did not dare to delay. He hurriedly crawled away from the back of the hall. The main entrance of the hall? Di Chang did not have the gut. If Ning Yu and the others were not far away and were waiting outside, wouldn't he be walking into a trap? Ning Yu, I'll remember you. Di Chang gritted his teeth and clenched his fist. He took out a scroll and carved a line of words with his soul force. A purple flame appeared on his fingertip and burned the scroll into ashes. Crack! At the same time, outside the void's secret realm, Di Wuba's face was ashen and bloodless. Not long ago, the 3 peerless geniuses from the Emperor Palace also had their soul tablets shattered. The shattering of their soul tablets meant that the 3 peerless geniuses had suffered the same fate as the geniuses from the Jin clan. The only thing that comforted Di Wuba was that Di Chang of Emperor God Palace was still alive and had not been killed. Di Wuba, the geniuses from the Emperor Palace are also dead? The shattering of the soul tablets of the 3 peerless geniuses from the Emperor Palace could not escape Jin Xiong's detection. In other words, the senses of all the 9th grade Earth sovereigns present could not escape his detection. Jin Xiong's face was filled with doubt. The peerless geniuses from the Emperor Palace are stronger than Jin Peng and the others. How did they die? Cut the CR*P. Di Wuba said coldly. Something must have happened in the city. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many peerless geniuses dying in there. In my opinion. Chapter 1351. Re-entry. After reading the information on the scroll, Di Wuba's expression turned colder. He even withdrew his aura. Sha. Di Wuba's actions caused the surrounding cultivators to retreat, not daring to approach. In the Pill Formation continent, many people knew about Di Wuba. Whenever Di Wuba revealed such an expression, it meant that he was about to erupt, completely erupt. Rumble. Sure enough, after a short silence, Di Wuba's aura burst forth, soaring into the sky. Quasi-heavenly sovereign. I never expected that Di Wuba would also reach the quasi-heavenly sovereign realm and enter the lesser heavenly sovereign palace, reaching the heavens in a single bound. Although a pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereign is powerful, compared to a little heavenly sovereign, it's like heaven and earth. That's right. In the 4 sects, Di Wuba is a little heavenly sovereign, Jin Xiong is a little heavenly sovereign, Taoist Master Duanlong is a peak grade 9 human sovereign, and Fairy Yun Shi of the 100 Flowers Palace should also be a peak grade 9 human sovereign. It seems that Emperor Divine Palace and Jin family are going to suppress the other 2 sections. The discussions of the cultivators did not affect Di Wuba. His aura continued to rise, showing no signs of weakening. What? Is Di Wuba trying to break through to the heavenly supreme realm here? Impossible, right? Everyone exclaimed. Di Wuba's current state was clearly that of a heavenly supreme. A little heavenly sovereign breaking through to the heavenly supreme realm was an important matter in any sect. He needed to activate the sect's grand array, prepare all sorts of treasures, and invite a few sky supremes to protect him. After all, breaking through to the heavenly supreme realm was a matter of great importance. It concerned the rise and fall of a sect, so they couldn't be careless. What was Di Wuba trying to do? There was no one here to protect him, and even if he succeeded in reaching the heavenly supreme realm, Jin Xiong and the rest wouldn't be willing. If, at the critical moment, Jin Xiong and the others gave him a ruthless blow, wouldn't he be finished? Who? As it turned out, Di Wuba was not an idiot. Just as his aura was about to reach its peak, Di Wuba suddenly retracted it and sent all of his aura into his body. Not simple. He's only a paper-thin distance away from the sky's supreme realm. Jin Xiong's expression changed. He was a little Empyrean, so he knew more about this domain than others. With Di Wuba's current state, he had a 20% chance of breaking through to the heavenly supreme realm. As for him, he only had a 10% chance. In terms of raw strength, he was no match for Di Wuba. Something has happened in the city. I suggest sending a 7th-grade Earth Sovereign in, Di Wuba said coldly. He was determined to shock everyone to death. A 7th-grade Earth Sovereign? Hearing Di Wuba's words, the crowd was first taken aback. Then, they started discussing among themselves. The giant city greatly suppresses Earth Sovereigns. Even a 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign might not be able to survive, not to mention a 7th-grade Earth Sovereign. The altar in the huge city is very special. Any warrior who enters it will be randomly teleported to various places in the empty mystery zone. Just now, I helped the Jin clan send a Grade 2 Earth Supreme in and let him stay in the city. I've already paid a huge price. Will it work if I send another Grade 7 Earth Supreme in? Di Wuba remained silent for a long time. How could Di Wuba not know about this? However, with the loss of the sovereign blood essence, the dark gold profound tiger wouldn't be able to leave the palace or the city. How could Di Wuba be willing to do that? Taking a deep breath, Di Wuba said in a deep voice, "Everyone, please do me a favor. I'll prepare all the materials. As for you guys, just put in some effort." At this point, Di Wuba had to make a choice. Should he wait here, or should he send a 7th-grade Earth Sovereign in? After much consideration, Di Wuba finally decided that it would be worth it to send a 7th-grade Earth Sovereign in, no matter what price he had to pay. The dark gold profound tiger was the mount of the 2nd old ancestor of Emperor Palace. As long as he could leave the city, the 2nd old ancestor might return. After so many years, the 2nd old ancestor of Emperor Palace's cultivation must have reached perfection. He might even be very close to a higher level. Alright. The first to agree was Jin Xiong. After all, Di Wuba had contributed a lot when the Jin clan sent a Grade 2 Earth Sovereign into the city. Jin Xiong naturally wouldn't stop Di Wuba. However, Jin Xiong suddenly changed the topic and continued, "But our Jin clan also wants to send a 7th-grade Earth Sovereign in. Our Broken Dragon Valley also wants to send a 7th-grade Earth Sovereign in. Our 100 Flowers Palace as well." Crack! Di Wuba clenched his fists and cracked them. He was so angry that his nose was crooked. The defense of the city was very powerful. Even after so many years, it could still withstand the powerful attacks of a high-rank Earth Sovereign. 4 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns. Do you know what that means? Di Wuba coldly said, "It means that the 4 of us, together with everyone else, will have to bring out all the materials in order to have a 20% success rate. It's fine. Don't we just need materials?" Jin Xiong waved his hand and said, "I believe that everyone here is a righteous person. It won't be difficult for us to gather the materials." "I hope so." Di Wuba's expression did not change much. He took out a few interspatial pouches and said, "I'll take the lead. As long as you guys aren't stingy, I have a 50% chance of sending a 7th-grade Earth Sovereign in." As he spoke, Di Wuba opened the interspatial pouches and set up a small array around them. It was better to be safe than sorry. Di Wuba did not want to suffer a double loss. Di Wuba began to organize the materials and place them around the altar in a certain order. "Give me the sun stone, rootless grass," Di Wuba yelled with a grave expression. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Along with Di Wuba's voice, Jin Xiong, Daoist Duanlong, and Fairy Yun she each threw an interspatial pouch to Di Wuba. Whoosh, whoosh. Following that, the figures of Jin Xiong and the rest flickered, and each occupied a spot on the altar. After Di Wuba placed the materials in a certain order, he tore space apart and arrived at the empty spot on the altar. Rise. Di Wuba forced out a drop of his blood essence and sprinkled it on the altar. Rumble. In an instant, a golden light burst out and all the materials around the altar were sucked away by the altar. The four of you, come here. At this moment Di Wuba resisted the urge to faint and yelled, when you enter the city, you must conceal your aura and suppress your cultivation to the second-grade Earth sovereign realm. Furthermore, each of you will have 3 chances to make a move. Once the 3 chances are up, you must immediately leave the city. Otherwise, you will be discovered by the mysterious array and killed. The 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns did not have any joy or sorrow on their faces. There was no need for Di Wuba to tell them about these things. They already knew about them. Go to the palace and hand the blood essence to the dark golden mystical tiger. Di Wuba secretly transmitted his voice to the 7th-grade Earth sovereigns. Chapter 1352. Chapter 1352, Danger. Poof, 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 poof. With a flash of golden light, the 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns were enveloped by the golden light and disappeared into the altar. The 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns were gone, but Di Wuba and the rest spurted out a mouthful of blood and their auras weakened. In order to send the 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns into the city, Di Wuba and the rest suffered quite a bit of injuries. Although these injuries were not fatal, they had a great impact on them. Almost everyone's battle prowess had dropped by a level. Di Wuba and Jin Xiong's battle prowess was no longer at the level of a lesser heavenly sovereign. They could only display the strength of a pinnacle 9th-grade Earth sovereign. As for Daoist Duanlong and Fairy Yunxi, they could only display the strength of a late 9th-grade Earth sovereign. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Soon Di Wuba and the rest sat on the boulders and began to recuperate. Whoosh. Inside the city of the Void Secret Realm, the originally calm altar shone with golden light once again. When the golden light dissipated, a group of people tore through the void and slowly walked out of the altar. After escaping from the palace, Ningyu happened to be around the altar. Ningyu knew that there must be someone waiting for him outside the altar, so he didn't leave immediately. Instead, he found a quiet house and waited inside. It's a 7th-grade Earth sovereign. Ningyu and Jin Lan spoke at almost the same time. After saying that, Ningyu and Jin Lan's faces turned gloomy. 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns appeared at the same time. On their side, the scar-faced berserk wolf and the ferocious berserk wolf were also fatally injured. Even if they weren't injured, the scar-faced berserk wolf and the ferocious berserk wolf were no match for the 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns. Whoosh! Suddenly, the 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns on the altar spread out. What should we do now? After the 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns left, Jin Lan let out a long breath and asked. Nothing. Ningyu rolled his eyes and went to the scar-faced bloodthirsty frenzy wolf and the ferocious frenzy wolf to check their injuries. The dark gold profound tiger was very strong. Even though the scarred bloodthirsty berserk wolf and the ferocious bloodthirsty berserk wolf were working together, they were still unable to gain the upper hand. Very troublesome. His perception lingered on the scar-faced bloodthirsty berserk wolf and the others for a while. Ningyu frowned. Do I need to waste a drop of sovereign blood essence? In the immortal Dan Hall, Ningyu obtained a drop of sovereign blood essence. He had obtained the second drop of sovereign blood essence from Di Chong in the hall. Originally, Ningyu had left these 2 drops of supreme being blood essence for his own use. However, the current situation had left him feeling depressed. Relax your minds. I'll give you a drop of the supreme being's blood essence. Gritting his teeth, Ningyu decided to give Scarface and bloodthirsty Mad Wolf a drop of supreme blood essence. No matter what, they were injured because of him. So if he didn't give them a drop of supreme being's blood essence, Ningyu wouldn't be able to live with himself. Are you sure you want to give us a drop of supreme being's blood essence? Hearing Ningyu's words, the the scar-faced bloodthirsty mad wolf, and the ferocious berserk wolf widened their eyes with disbelief on their faces. The sovereign being's blood essence was a treasure. Although they had suffered heavy injuries, it was natural in their eyes. They were already under Ningyu's control, and their survival depended on Ningyu's will. Initially, when they were injured, they were already prepared to die slowly. So even if Ningyu took out a drop of sovereign blood essence, they wouldn't believe it. They felt that Ningyu was trying to trick them. "Why are you talking so much? The reason why I'm giving you guys the sovereign blood essence is so that you can help me kill my enemies." Ningyu revealed an impatient expression as he waved his hand. "Relax your minds, or I'll change my mind." "Okay. We'll relax our minds now." Hearing Ningyu's words, the scar-faced bloodthirsty mad wolf and the ferocious berserk wolf looked at each other and saw the excitement in each other's eyes. The Supreme Being's blood essence was simply too timely for them right now. Whoosh! Whoosh! With a flick of his wrist, Ningyu split the drop of sovereign blood essence he snatched from Di Chang into 2 drops. One flew towards the scar-faced bloodthirsty mad wolf, and the other towards the ferocious berserk wolf. How could the scar-faced bloodthirsty mad wolf and the ferocious mad wolf dare to delay? They immediately sat down and began to absorb the sovereign blood essence. Whoosh! As the blood essence entered their stomachs, the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves' bodies shone with a golden light. The injuries and broken bones in their bodies healed at a visible speed. At this rate, it would only take an hour at most for the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves to recover to their peak state. They might even have the chance to advance further and break through to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm. The scar-faced bloodthirsty mad wolf and the others were pinnacle 6th grade Earth sovereigns and had been in this realm for many years. Now, with the impact of the sovereign blood essence, they vaguely felt an urge to advance to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm. Not good. The 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves' actions caused Ningyu's expression to change drastically. It wasn't that Ningyu didn't want them to advance, but that there would definitely be a huge reaction if they advanced here. The 4 7th grade Earth sovereigns hadn't gone far. If they all came back, the consequences would be unimaginable. Law of space, quickly seal this area. Don't let anyone discover anything, Ningyu said in a deep voice and hurriedly ordered the law of space. I can only seal this area for half an hour. Any longer and I won't be able to hold on. The law of space replied. Whoosh. Then, with Ningyu and the others as the center, the entire area was sealed. Half an hour? Ningyu frowned and looked at the scar-faced bloodthirsty mad wolf and the others. To be honest, they might not be able to advance to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm in half an hour. But since things had come to this, Ningyu had no choice but to wait quietly. However, Ningyu wasn't the kind of person who would sit still and wait. While waiting, he tried to contact the sapling. The sapling was a special existence, and it might have a solution. However, Ningyu was disappointed. No matter how he called, the sapling didn't respond. Forget it, I'll deal with it when it comes. I hope these 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves can advance to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm in half an hour. Shaking his head, Ningyu chose to close his eyes and wait quietly. Drip, drip. Time flew, and in the blink of an eye, 20 minutes had passed. 20 minutes wasn't a long time, but it wasn't short either. After 20 minutes of hard work, the scar-faced bloodthirsty mad wolf and the ferocious mad wolf had recovered to their peak state and were trying to advance to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm. On the surface, the scar-faced bloodthirsty mad wolf was faster and had the highest chance of advancing to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm in half an hour. As for the ferocious mad wolf, it was a little dangerous. Bang! After another 5 minutes, a muffled sound came from the scar-faced bloodthirsty mad wolf's body. 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm. Chapter 1353. Exposed. When the scarred wolf advanced to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, 4 other 7th grade Earth Sovereigns stopped in their tracks with their brows knitted. The 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns that were chosen to enter the giant city all had some ability. Although the space around Ning Yu was sealed by the law of space, they still noticed the commotion caused by the scarred wolf's advancement. Let's go! The 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns flew in Ning Yu's direction. In the blink of an eye, the 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns appeared outside the room where Ning Yu was. I can sense that someone has advanced to the 7th-grade Earth sovereign realm. The 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns exchanged a look and saw the shock in each other's eyes. A brief moment later, the 7th-grade Earth sovereign of the Jin clan said, "It seems that the city is dangerous. Why don't we join forces and drag that person out?" "I agree." The 7th-grade Earth sovereign of the Divine Emperor Palace agreed without hesitation. When they entered the city, the 7th-grade Earth sovereign of the Divine Emperor Palace was already in the hall and handed a drop of sovereign blood essence to the dark golden mystic tiger. The dark golden mystic tiger was currently recovering, and it wouldn't take long for it to return to the 6th-grade Earth sovereign realm. At that time, who in the city could be their opponent? The Divine Emperor Palace was destined to enjoy the fortune in the city. The 7th-grade Earth sovereigns of the Broken Dragon Valley and 100 Flowers Palace did not speak. No one knew if they agreed or disagreed. Damn it! Seeing the 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns, Ning Yu's face turned extremely ugly. Even if the scarred wolf had advanced to the 7th-grade Earth sovereign realm, he still couldn't win against the 4 of them. Judging from the current situation, he could only have a chance of winning if he advanced to the 7th-grade Earth sovereign realm as well. After all, humans and demonic beasts had the same cultivation, but humans were at an absolute disadvantage. "I'll go lure them away." The scarred berserk wolf knew the severity of the problem and said in a deep voice, "As long as I lure the 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns away, the berserk wolf will definitely be able to advance to the 7th-grade Earth sovereign realm. Be careful." After thinking about it, Ning Yu agreed to the scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf. Rather than waiting for death, he might as well think of a way to lure the 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns away with the scarred berserk wolf to buy time for the ferocious berserk wolf. Roar! The scarred wolf did not hesitate. He roared at the sky and tore through the void, wanting to charge into the distance. Poochie! However, as soon as the scarred wolf tore through the void, it spat out a mouthful of blood. This is bad. Ning Yu's heart sank when he saw the scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf spurting blood. Demonic beasts could not stay in the giant city. The reason why the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf could stay in the giant city for such a long time was due to the help of the law of space. It could be said that without the law of space, the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf would have been killed by the array in the giant city. Now that the scarred wolf wanted to lure the 7th-grade Earth sovereigns away, it was a huge mistake. Rumble! In an instant, with the scarred wolf as the center, several pillars of light rose from the surroundings. Whoosh! The pillars of light intertwined and enveloped the entire area. An array! At this moment, the 4 7th-grade Earth sovereigns couldn't help exclaiming with shock on their faces. They were the upper echelons of their respective sects, so they more or less knew what was going on in the giant city. Someone must have triggered some kind of restriction and caused the array to appear. Huff! In the void, Ning Yu looked at the scarred bloodthirsty wolf standing beside him and let out a long sigh. At the critical moment, the law of space suddenly went berserk and sucked the scarred wolf into the void, hiding it. There were only 5 minutes left until the half-an-hour time limit set by the law of space. At the very least, the scarred wolf and the others would not be discovered within these 5 minutes. They are trapped in the array. Do we have a chance to kill them all? After calming down, Ning Yu raised his eyebrows and asked, "Law of space, take the scarred wolf and approach the 7th-grade Earth sovereigns from the Jin family and Emperor Palace and give them a fatal blow." Since they had already offended the Jin family and Emperor Palace, they would kill as many as they could. If they killed one, they would break even. If they killed 2, they would make a profit. Kill my ass. The law of space snappily said. If I hadn't appeared in time, the scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf would have been killed long ago. Also, we have to hide our auras while protecting the scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf. We'll be discovered in 3 minutes at most. Ningyu's face darkened and he had the urge to curse. Right now, they were still trapped in the spiritual array. Wouldn't that mean that they would be exposed to the 7th grade Earth Sovereigns outside after 3 minutes? What I care about is whether the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf will be teleported out of the city. Ningyu voiced out his concern. Once the scarred wolf and the others were teleported out, Ningyu would be finished. As long as they were not teleported out, Ningyu still had hope. At least, he could fight them. Don't worry, they won't be teleported out of the city. The law of space said, if you don't hide your aura now, I can order the scarred wolf and the ferocious wolf to attack. Don't. Let's wait for a while. What if the ferocious wolf brings me a surprise? Ningyu waved his hand to stop the law of space from acting recklessly. Poochie, 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 Poochie. At the very least, the situation of the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns was much worse than that of Ningyu. Under the powerful pressure of the array, the 4 7th grade Earth Sovereigns spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, let me blast it away. The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin clan cursed inwardly and pushed out his right hand, trying to blast the array. Wait. Before the 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin clan punched out, the other 3 7th grade Earth Sovereigns hurriedly said, the array is unstable. We can only endure it. We can't blast it. If we don't blast the array, are we just going to wait to be tortured to death? The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin clan, Jin Fu, was furious. They had entered the city to investigate why the 4 peerless geniuses of the Jin clan were killed. Who would have thought that they would be trapped in the array before they could find anything? Do you want more arrays to appear? The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Divine Emperor Palace, Di Chong, said in a cold tone, I'm sure you know better than me why this city appeared. Of course I know. Jin Fu snorted coldly and did not continue speaking. Instead, he rolled his eyes and no one knew what he was thinking. I've already investigated this array. As long as we can stay inside for 3 minutes, they will naturally disappear. A moment later, Jin Fu said, I suspect that the one who just advanced to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign is a human who stayed in the city a long time ago. I crack. Chapter 1354. Chapter 1354. Chapter 1354 Tribulation Rumble. Space trembled and a terrifying aura soared into the sky. Sensing this terrifying aura, Jin Fu and the others' expressions changed drastically. Then, a colossal creature appeared in the void. Bloodthirsty mad wolf. Jin Fu's eyes widened when he saw the colossal creature. It's a 7th grade Earth Supreme bloodthirsty mad wolf? But soon, Jin Fu's face was filled with joy. Jin Fu knew that the Jin clan had subdued the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf clan in the Void's secret realm and left a seal in their bodies. As long as the seal was triggered, the bloodthirsty Mad Wolves in the Void's secret realm would die on the spot. Maybe I can use these bloodthirsty Mad Wolves to deal with Di Chong and the rest. With a thought, Jin Fu came to a decision. Although he looked shocked on the surface, his heart was in contact with the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf. I'm one of the higher-ups of the Jin clan. I need your help. Jin Fu's tone left no room for doubt. He said in a deep voice, you will deal with Di Chong. Do everything you can to kill him. The bloodthirsty Mad Wolf was slightly stunned when it heard Jin Fu's words. Then, it shifted its gaze to Ningyu. The reason why Jin Fu could see the bloodthirsty Mad Wolf was that he had just broken through to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm, which caused the space to become unstable. As for Ningyu, the scarred Mad Wolf, and the rest, they were still hidden in the void and had not been discovered. Try to get close to Jin Fu first, Ningyu said. There were still 3 minutes before he was exposed anyway. 3 minutes was neither a long nor a short time. At the very least, he could let the bloodthirsty mad wolf get close to the 7th grade Earth Supreme Realm and deal a fatal blow. Understood. The bloodthirsty mad wolf nodded. Oh, the expert from the Gene clan will definitely trigger the seal in your body. As soon as he does, I'll inform you immediately. You should know what to do. Ningyu reminded. The reason why Jin Fu communicated with the bloodthirsty mad wolf was because he thought that there was still a seal in the bloodthirsty mad wolf's body. Before heavily injuring Jin Fu, he could not expose himself. Otherwise, all his efforts would be in vain. Di Chang, you are the strongest among the 4 of us. Why don't you deal with this bloodthirsty mad wolf? Jin Fu looked at Di Chang and said, Are you sure you're not joking? Di Chang asked coldly. Why don't you go? Di Chang was not a fool. After entering the city, they only had 3 chances to attack. There were very few opportunities. Every time he used one, there would be one less. Once the 3 chances were used up, they would definitely be teleported out. They hadn't found the good fortune yet, so no one wanted to go out now. How about this? Let's work together and take down this bloodthirsty mad wolf. As he spoke, Jin Fu stomped on the ground and charged at the ferocious bloodthirsty mad wolf. What the hell are they doing? Seeing Jin Fu's actions, Di Chang raised his brows. He had no idea what Jin Fu was up to. Although he was a little confused, Di Chang did not stay idle. His figure flashed, and he followed closely behind Jin Fu. Are we going to make a move? The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Broken Dragon Valley asked as he looked at the 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Flower Palace. Up to you. The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Flower Palace was a woman named Ching Ling. Forget it, let them have it. Seeing that Ching Ling had no intention of making a move, the 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Broken Dragon Valley took a deep breath and said, The 7th grade Earth Sovereign of the Broken Dragon Valley was called Ji Hao. Ji Hao knew very well that the Broken Dragon Valley, the Jin family, and the Emperor Palace all had enmity with each other. If Taoist Duanlong knew that he wanted to help Jin Fu and the others, he would probably execute him on the spot. Di Chang, I'll give you the beast core of this 7th grade Earth Supreme Bloodthirsty Wild Wolf. I want its body. Although they had not fought with the ferocious mad wolf, Jin Fu had already started to bargain with Di Chang. It seemed that the ferocious mad wolf would definitely be killed by them. Deal. Di Chang was very careful. He was always half a beat behind Jin Fu. In fact, Di Chang had also heard that the Jin family had controlled a group of bloodthirsty mad wolves in the Void Secret Realm. This information was confidential, and Di Chang only knew about it by chance. If he did not know about it, he would have already made a move. It seems that Di Chang is not very convinced. Jin Fu frowned slightly and immediately rushed out. As Jin Fu rushed out, he slightly activated the seal in the ferocious mad wolf's body. All the higher-ups of the Jin family knew how to activate the seal in the bloodthirsty mad wolf's body. However, Jin Fu only activated it slightly and didn't fully activate it. Buzz. As soon as Jin Fu activated the seal in the ferocious mad wolf's body, Ningyu passed the news to the ferocious mad wolf. The ferocious mad wolf was very cooperative. Its body started to shake and its consciousness became a little fuzzy. At the same time, the ferocious mad wolf angrily transmitted a message to Jin Fu. What is the meaning of this? Nothing. I just want to confirm it. Jin Fu was a little worried at first, but after seeing the ferocious mad wolf's actions, he finally felt relieved. Bang! Jin Fu clenched his right hand into a fist and punched the ferocious mad wolf's body. A crisp sound was heard, and the ferocious mad wolf was sent flying. Swoosh! Jin Fu rushed out again, not giving the ferocious mad wolf a chance to counterattack. Roar! The ferocious mad wolf raised its head and roared angrily as it looked at Jin Fu, who was approaching it. Your acting is quite good. Not bad. Hearing the ferocious mad wolf's roar, Jin Fu was very satisfied. This was the result he wanted. Di Chang, what are you waiting for? Jin Fu shouted and turned around to call for Di Chang as he attacked the ferocious mad wolf. Now's the time. The ferocious mad wolf's eyes lit up. It swept its tail, bringing with it a violent Yuan Qi gale as it attacked Jin Fu. Not good. Jin Fu was not a fool. As soon as the ferocious mad wolf attacked, he realized that something was wrong and hurriedly activated the seal. However, no matter how Jin Fu activated the seal, the ferocious mad wolf did not react. In fact, Jin Fu did not dodge because he wanted to activate the seal. Smack! The tail hit Jin Fu's neck and made a circle. The ferocious mad wolf exerted its strength and threw Jin Fu far away, causing him to hit the edge of the array. Rumble! The array in the giant city was there to restrict people who did not follow the rules. Jin Fu had just crashed into the array when the void beside him suddenly split open. A huge palm appeared and forcefully dragged him in. Hiss! The sudden change caused everyone present, including Ningyu who was in the sky, to gasp. That palm, the cultivation of its owner, was at least at the Sky Supreme stage. For a moment all the martial artists in the area held their breath. No one dared to speak. A moment later, a powerful voice broke the silence. Chapter 1355. The last 3 hours. As soon as the voice stopped, the surroundings became silent again. Crack! Not long after, the formation surrounding Di Chang and the others cracked open and disappeared completely. It was not until a long time after the formation disappeared that Di Chang and the others finally felt relieved. Gulp! Di Chang swallowed his saliva and said, "Senior, I would like to ask about Jin Fu." "Don't ask what you shouldn't ask." A cold voice replied to Di Chang, "You only have 3 hours. After 3 hours, all of you will be teleported out of the city and the secret land of emptiness will be sealed for 3 years. Di Chang shuddered and felt a little scared. The reason why Di Chang asked was that he wasn't sure about the attitude of the person in the void. Now, it seemed that the person in the void was very domineering and didn't want to talk to him. Why do you look so familiar?" After a while, Di Chang's gaze finally stopped on Ningyu. "Sorry, we don't know each other." Since Di Chang had noticed him, Ningyu took a step forward and shrugged. "If you want to attack me, I'll take it." Although there were the scarred and ferocious wolves here, Ningyu didn't dare to be careless. If Di Chang joined forces with the other 2 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns, he would be in trouble. Moreover, there were more than a dozen pinnacle 9th-grade Earth Sovereigns here, apart from the 3 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns. Moreover, there was a 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign among those pinnacle 9th-grade Earth Sovereigns. Just these people alone were enough to make Ningyu suffer. "You're Ningyu." Suddenly, Di Chang seemed to have thought of something and said in surprise, "I didn't expect to see you here." "Good, very good." Di Chang's gaze swept across the scarred berserk wolf and the ferocious berserk wolf. He seemed to have understood something. "It seems that the deaths of the 3 peerless geniuses of the Emperor Palace are related to you." Di Chang looked at Ningyu and said, "Elder, their deaths are indeed related to Ningyu." At this time, Di Chang flew over from afar and landed beside Di Chang. Di Chang's eyes were filled with coldness. He gritted his teeth and said, "Ningyu not only killed the 3 geniuses of Emperor God Palace, but he also—" "Shut up!" Di Chang slapped Di Chang and said angrily, "Haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? Let's go." As he spoke, Di Chang grabbed Di Chang's shoulder and dashed off into the distance. In fact, Ningyu was worried that Di Chang would join forces with the other 2 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns. How could Di Chang not be worried about this? Ningyu already had 2 7th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm bloodthirsty wolves on his side. If 2 more 7th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm humans joined the fray, he would definitely die today. After all, the mysterious man had said that the giant city was completely open to them. They could do whatever they wanted inside without worrying about triggering the formation. In this case, Di Chang had more concerns and had to flee first. Just wait and see. Lord Dark Gold Mystic Tiger will soon recover to the 6th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. At that time, all of you will die. The direction in which Di Chang fled was the hall where the Dark Gold Mystic Tiger was. The sovereign blood essence had been given to the Dark Gold Mystic Tiger. After a while, the Dark Gold Mystic Tiger would recover to the 6th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. Di Chang had nothing to fear. Let's go. Ji Hao waved his hand and rushed away with the 4 9th grade Earth Sovereigns from the Broken Dragon Valley. Di Chang was worried that Ningyu would attack him, and so was Ji Hao. Those were 2 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm bloodthirsty wolves. Ji Hao didn't have the strength to fight against them. Let's go. Qing Ling glanced at Ningyu, then her figure flashed, wanting to leave. Please wait. Before Qing Ling could take a few steps, Ningyu hurriedly said, I have something to ask you. Swish. The speaker did not mean it, but the listener did. Ningyu's words made Qing Ling's face turn gloomy. Apart from Qing Ling, the 4 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the 100 Flowers Palace also had ugly expressions. When the Divine Emperor Palace martial artists left, Ningyu didn't stop them. When the Broken Dragon Valley martial artists left, Ningyu didn't stop them either. Now it was the 100 Flowers Palace's turn, but they were stopped. Could it be that Ningyu thought they were easy to bully? Don't misunderstand. Can we talk in private? Seeing the change in Qing Ling's expression, Ningyu didn't have to think to know that they were furious. I want to know about the Palace Master of the 100 Flowers Palace. Seeing that Qing Ling was indifferent, Ningyu had no choice but to send a soul message. Maybe I can help the 100 Flowers Palace get through this. Thump. Hearing Ningyu's words, Qing Ling's heart skipped a beat. The 100 Flowers Palace was in big trouble. The Palace Master was trapped in a place, and was suspected to have died. In the huge 100 Flowers Palace, a large number of elders and disciples had sided with mysterious powerhouses. Of course, only the 100 Flowers Palace knew about this. Outsiders wouldn't know about it. How did Ningyu know about it? Did he really have a way to help the 100 Flowers Palace? Thinking of this, Qing Ling moved her feet and walked towards Ningyu. Elder, please reconsider. Although they didn't know what Ningyu said to Qing Ling, the 4 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the 100 Flowers Palace still stopped Qing Ling when they saw her actions. In the entire 100 Flowers Palace, there weren't many elders who were still loyal to the Palace Master. Other than Fairy Yunxi, who was outside the Void Secret Realm, only Qing Ling and a few elders chose to stand on the Palace Master's side. If Qing Ling died, it would be a huge loss to the 100 Flowers Palace. It's fine. Qing Ling was fearless. She moved her feet and arrived before Ningyu in the blink of an eye. If you can't satisfy me, I'll kill you. Qing Ling stared into Ningyu's eyes and said in a deep voice. Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. To be honest, Ningyu could see the vicissitudes of life, coldness, and killing intent in Qing Ling's eyes. Could it be that the 100 Flowers Palace was really at a moment of life and death? Or rather, the Palace Master was at a complete disadvantage in the confrontation with the mysterious powerhouse, causing most of the 100 Flowers Palace to fall. And the Qing Ling in front of him was one of the fallen martial artists? All sorts of doubts appeared in Ningyu's mind, causing him to be at a loss. I want to know what's going on with the 100 Flowers Palace. After sorting out his thoughts, Ningyu said in a deep voice, Is the Palace Master having the upper hand, or is it the mysterious powerhouse? Swoosh. Qing Ling's expression changed. She released her aura and frantically pressed towards Ningyu. Tell me, what do you know? Qing Ling berated. If Ningyu didn't say anything, she would kill Ningyu. I know your Palace Master. Ningyu didn't back down. Instead, he stared into Qing Ling's eyes and said. Qing Ling's heart trembled. Not long ago, the Palace Master had secretly sent a voice transmission to Fairy Yunxi, asking her to go to the Thousand Leaf Empire to find a man called Ningyu. After finding Ningyu, she had to bring him to the Thousand Leaf Ridge. The Palace Master had also said that only Ningyu could help the 100 Flowers Palace. She had to be more respectful when she saw Ningyu. Chapter 1356. A hole. Let's talk somewhere else. Ching Ling's complexion improved a little when she thought that Ningyu might be the Ningyu that the palace master of the Centauria Palace had mentioned. She took a deep breath and said, "If you're really the palace master's friend, we might be able to work together." Ching Ling stomped on the ground and flew into the distance. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 4 pinnacle 9th grade earthly supremes behind Ching Ling didn't dare to be slow. They all used their spells and followed closely. What do we do now? Jin Lan frowned when he saw Ching Ling and the others leaving. Are we really going to follow them? To be honest, Jin Lan didn't believe Ching Ling's words. In his opinion, Ching Ling wanted them to follow because she wanted to set them up. After all, Ching Ling was a pinnacle 7th grade Earth Supreme with unfathomable strength. Let's go. Ningyu was bold because of his skills. The scarred and ferocious wolves had already advanced to 7th grade Earth Supreme. With them by his side, Ningyu naturally had nothing to fear. Although Ching Ling was a pinnacle 7th grade Earth Supreme, it would still be difficult for her to fight 2 at once. Damn it! Jin Lan cursed. He had no choice but to follow behind Ningyu. The giant city had released its restrictions on martial artists. It could be said that Jin Lan was the weakest in the giant city. If she was replaced by a 9th grade earthly supremacy, she wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. Therefore, following behind Ningyu was the best choice. Russell. Ching Ling seemed to know a lot about the giant city. She led Ningyu and the others through the giant city and finally stopped in front of a slightly dilapidated house. What is this place? Ningyu frowned. He knew nothing about the giant city. Creak. Ching Ling didn't answer Ningyu's question. She pushed the door open and walked straight in. Ningyu wanted to ask something, but seeing Ching Ling's actions, he gave up and followed her. As soon as they entered the courtyard, Ching Ling stomped her right foot on the ground and took out a scroll and threw it in a specific direction. Back off. After doing all this, Ching Ling took a few steps back and said. Ningyu was puzzled. He did not know what Ching Ling was up to. Rumble. Not long after, the scroll exploded, and the place where Ching Ling's right foot was standing suddenly caved in, revealing a huge hole. Go! Ching Ling didn't say much. When the hole was completely formed, she was the first to jump in. Behind Ching Ling, 4 peak 9th grade human supreme martial artists followed closely. Since he was already here, there was no reason for Ningyu to retreat. Furthermore, ever since he was separated from Palatial Mistress Centauria and the others, Ningyu wanted to know more about them as soon as possible. Cold. The first thing he felt when he entered the hole was cold. The second feeling was that it was extremely cold. This kind of cold was not an ordinary kind of cold. It was a kind of bone-chilling cold. Furthermore, the deeper they went, the colder it became. In the end, the 4 pinnacle 9th grade sovereigns of the Flower Palace had no choice but to stop. Even a peak 9th grade human supreme couldn't advance, let alone Jin Lan. In fact, not long after entering the hole, Jin Lan already felt that it was difficult to move. If it wasn't for Ningyu protecting her, she would have long been frozen into an ice sculpture. Just how deep is this hole? Half an hour after entering the hole, even Ningyu started to have doubts. Ching Ling didn't seem to be affected as she walked forward step by step. As for Ningyu, he only managed to keep up with Ching Ling with the help of the scarred berserk wolf and the ferocious berserk wolf. We're here. Ching Ling's face was emotionless. What is this place? Ningyu was puzzled. The surroundings were as empty as the wilderness, and he couldn't see anything. Crack. As soon as Ningyu's voice fell, the space before him shattered. The void shattered, and in an instant, a figure walked out of the void. A heavenly sovereign? Even though Ningyu was prepared, he couldn't help but gasp when he sensed the powerful aura emanating from this figure. Although the figure was illusory, its strength had reached the terrifying heavenly sovereign realm. What is it? After the illusory figure appeared, it didn't look at Ningyu. Instead, it stared at Qing Ling and said, "Why did you disturb my sleep? Old ancestor, I'm here to tell you that the 100 Flowers Palace is at a moment of life and death." Qing Ling didn't dare to be negligent and hurriedly replied respectfully. Qing Ling didn't make a sound. Instead, she transmitted her voice to the illusory figure. Clearly, Qing Ling didn't want Ningyu to hear her. What? No one knew what Qing Ling said, but the illusory figure's face turned extremely ugly when he heard her words. He coldly said, "This matter is very important. I need to report it to my superiors." Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, the illusory figure merged into the void and disappeared. Although the illusory figure had disappeared, Ningyu didn't dare to make any rash moves. If he offended a heavenly sovereign, only death awaited him. No one could save him. Whoosh! 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 Not long after, something that shocked Ningyu happened. In the void, several terrifying senses surged out and entered Qing Ling's mind. "Don't resist." The illusory figure appeared again and said, "This matter is extremely important. Everyone needs to understand the situation." Without the illusory figure speaking, Qing Ling didn't dare to act rashly. Every single one of the perception that appeared later was stronger than the illusory figure. Qing Ling didn't want to provoke them, because it wouldn't end well for her if she did. "It really is them." A brief moment later, everyone retracted their perception. An old woman's voice echoed in the area. "I wonder if he escaped from the emptiness pocket realm or somewhere else. They shouldn't have escaped from us." An old man said, "We will check every half a month to ensure that the people below the empty realm will not leave this place. We're guarding the void realm and can't leave for now. In my opinion, let the 100 Flowers Palace find a way to solve this matter. After all, it happened in the 100 Flowers Palace," the old woman said again. Then, a large number of perception retreated. But before leaving, the old woman glanced at Ningyu and said, "100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign, you should know what to do." After saying these words, the old woman finally left. "Are you trying to erase my memory?" Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. From the old woman's words, he could tell that she was unhappy with him and seemed to be targeting him. He didn't even know who the old woman was. Wasn't it a little inappropriate for the old woman to target him like this? "Did you offend the Emperor Palace in any way?" After everyone left, the illusory figure frowned and stared at Ningyu. In the past, people from other sects came to the giant city, but they didn't ask to have their memory erased. "Why is the old woman targeting you?" "That old man is from the Emperor Palace." Ningyu's eyes widened. He was a little speechless. Since the old man was from the Emperor Palace, everything made sense. Needless to say, Di Chong and Di Chong must have found a way to meet the old woman and told her about what he had done. With the 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign around, the old woman couldn't kill him, so she could only give Ningyu a warning. Thinking of this, Ningyu looked at the illusory figure, which was the 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign, gratefully. Chapter 1357. Surrounded Again. "Don't worry, it's nothing," the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate said with a wave of his hand. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate murmured, "If the ancestor hadn't been injured, how could the 100 Flowers Palace have fallen to such a state?" Although the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate's voice was very soft, Ningyu's sharp hearing still caught it. "I will repay this kindness with a gushing spring." Ningyu cupped his fists and said solemnly. "Good, I'm glad you think that way." The 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate nodded. "I already know the memories in Qing Ling's mind. I have a few questions for you now." "Please ask, Senior." Ningyu didn't dare to be negligent. "First, how did you meet the current Palace Master?" the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate asked. Although the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate acted very casually, Ningyu knew that the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate would definitely find out if he lied. Ningyu took a deep breath and organized his thoughts before speaking slowly. Ningyu only stopped after a full 10 minutes. In those 10 minutes, Ningyu told the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate how he met the palace master and how they fought side by side. However, Ningyu kept a secret. Ningyu didn't tell the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate about the soul guidance method. After all, the soul guidance method was very precious. In his previous life, he had only learned about it by chance. As strong as the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate was, she would definitely want to obtain the soul guidance method. Looks like the current palace master is in danger. From Ningyu's words, the 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate could tell that the current palace master was in danger. If she couldn't control the mysterious powerhouse quickly, she would die. The 100 Flowers Palace outside the empty mystic realm was the last flame of their lineage. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Venerate didn't want it to be extinguished. Sigh, against these people from the other side, the world tree is the #1 killing weapon. What a pity, what a pity! Heavenly Lord Many Flowers sighed softly, wanting to say something, but hesitated. The other side, world tree. Ningyu felt a chill in his heart. He faintly felt that things weren't so simple. In his previous life, even though he was an Empyrean, he knew very little about these things. However, Ningyu's memory of the word foreign land was still fresh. He was also a pinnacle 9th grade alchemist, and an Earth Supreme expert came to him and begged him to refine a pill for him. Back then, Ningyu had heard bits and pieces of information from the Earth Sovereign Powerhouse, such as being surrounded, and being heavily injured. Now that he thought about it, it seemed that things were far from that simple. Ningyu, since the current palace mistress of the 100 Flowers Palace has chosen to trust you, then I trust you as well. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign's expression turned extremely solemn. She stared at Ningyu and said, I'm giving this to you. I hope you can save the 100 Flowers Palace. Swoosh. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign flicked her sleeves, and a golden box flew out and flew toward Ningyu. Smack! Stretching out his right hand, Ningyu firmly grasped the golden box in his hand. What is this? Ningyu frowned as he looked at the golden box in his hand. He wanted to split his perception to probe it. Don't open it now. Wait until you arrive at the 100 Flowers Palace and see the palace mistress and the other side's experts. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign stopped Ningyu and passed a chant to Ningyu. As long as you hold the golden box and recite the chant, you'll be able to open it. With that, the 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign ignored Ningyu and turned to walk toward Qingling. Ningyu, let me see the box. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign had only taken a few steps when an anxious voice rang out in Ningyu's mind. There was no doubt that it was a sapling. Don't make a fuss. Ningyu's heart jolted as he immediately transmitted his voice to the sapling. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign is powerful. What if she finds out? It's fine. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign isn't here. This is just a projection of her. The sapling clearly did not put Ningyu's words to heart. Projection? Ningyu's heart trembled as he looked at the 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign. But when he looked at it, Ningyu was dumbfounded. The sapling was right. The 100 Flowers Heavenly Sovereign was just a projection, and the power that she could bring out was far from the Heavenly Sovereign realm. At best, she was only a 7th grade Earth Sovereign. At this moment, Ningyu understood everything. It was no wonder why the old woman did not make a move against him. She must be afraid of the 2 wolves. Otherwise, the Emperor Palace would definitely kill him with the enmity between them. What's in the golden box? Ningyu took a deep breath and began to communicate with the sapling. What else could it be? The branch of the world tree that can restrain the experts of the other world. The sapling shook its branches and said, I can feel that if I devour the branch in the golden box, I can raise my strength to the 3rd grade Earth Sovereign realm. After awakening, the sapling's fighting strength had reached the pinnacle 2nd grade Earth Sovereign realm. Don't mess around. The branch of the world tree in the golden box is for the experts of the other world, Ningyu said in a deep voice. He would naturally not let the sapling mess around. The 100 Flowers' heavenly sovereign was still here. Even if it wanted to devour the branch, it could not do so now. At the very least, it could wait until the 100 Flowers' heavenly sovereign left. Let's go. Before the conversation between Ning Yu and the sapling ended, Ching Ling turned around and walked out of the hole with a cold expression. Go? Seeing Ching Ling's action, Ning Yu was a little stunned and quickly shifted his gaze to the other side. In Ning Yu's eyes, heavenly venerate many flowers had already vanished without a trace. Ching Ling did not want to wait for Ning Yu. She stomped on the ground and quickly dashed out. Rumble! What happened next made Ning Yu speechless. As soon as Ching Ling left, the hole began to collapse. Starting from the inside, it gradually collapsed, and the speed of the collapse was getting faster and faster. Let's go. There was no way Ning Yu would stay and wait for death. He leaped onto the back of the scarred wolf, and let it carry him toward the exit of the hole. Fortunately, the hole was not very deep. Before long, Ning Yu and the others left the hole. I'm going to die. After leaving the hole, Ning Yu's eyes widened and he could not help but curse. That was because there were 3 figures standing side by side in front of him. Those 2 figures were very familiar to Ning Yu. One of them was Di Chang from the Divine Emperor Palace. For some reason, his cultivation had reached the pinnacle of the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, and he was only half a step away from the 8th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. As for the other figure, Ning Yu had a deep memory of it. The dark golden mystic tiger. This dark gold profound tiger was the one that had fought against the 2 bloodthirsty berserk wolves. The only difference was that this dark golden mystic tiger was no longer a 5th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, but a pinnacle 6th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. Chapter 1358. Chapter 1358. A battle. Haha, enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. Seeing Ning Yu and the rest emerge from the ground, the corner of Di Chang's lips rose. Ning Yu, are you going to commit suicide, or do you want me to do it? Di Chang, he's someone I want to protect. Before Ning Yu could speak, Ching Ling took a step forth and stood before Ning Yu. You have to ask for my opinion before you touch him. Seeing that Ching Ling wanted to protect him, Ning Yu was stunned before he revealed a shocked expression. Truth be told, Ning Yu never thought that Ching Ling would stand on his side. The 100 Flowers' heavenly sovereign did not erase his memory, and even gave him a golden box. According to the sapling, the box contained a branch of the world tree. But that didn't represent Ching Ling's intention. Now that Ching Ling wanted to protect him, he was surprised. Ching Ling, your 100 Flowers palace can't even take care of itself. I advise you to stay out of this. Di Chang's face was unsightly. I don't want to say the same thing twice. Ching Ling's face was expressionless, and her attitude did not change. Why are you talking to them? Suddenly, the dark golden mystic tiger flung its lips and said proudly, I can feel that as long as I devour all of these humans, I can recover to the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. Russell. The dark golden mystic tiger's words made the pinnacle 9th grade earthly sovereigns of the 100 Flowers Palace's faces turn ugly. The pinnacle 9th grade earthly sovereigns of the 100 Flowers Palace weren't fools. They could naturally sense how powerful the dark golden mystic tiger was. The strength of a 6th grade Earth Sovereign Realm dark golden mystic tiger was extremely terrifying. It could basically be invincible among those in the same realm. So much so that it wouldn't be a problem for it to challenge those of a higher realm. Don't get cocky. The scarred berserk wolf took a step forth and coldly said. The scarred berserk wolf still remembered that he was defeated by the dark golden mystic tiger in the palace. Now that he had reached the 7th grade Earth Sovereign Realm, he had to get back at it. Go. After exchanging glances with the ferocious berserk wolf, the scarred berserk wolf stomped on the ground and charged forward. The scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf was very fast. In the blink of an eye, it came to the dark gold profound tiger. It clenched its right fist and punched the tiger. Insignificant skill. Facing the approaching fist, the dark gold mysterious tiger didn't care about it at all. It swung its tail at the scarred wolf. Bang! Bang! Without a doubt, the scarred bloodthirsty mad wolf and the ferocious bloodthirsty mad wolf didn't last long under the powerful attacks of the dark gold profound tiger. Roar! Roar! Being defeated under everyone's gazes, especially after reaching the 7th grade Earth Sovereign realm, the scarred berserk wolf felt a little embarrassed. He roared at the sky and transformed into his true form, a giant bloodthirsty wolf. Seeing the scarred berserk wolf transform into its true form, the ferocious berserk wolf also transformed into its true form. 2 huge bloodthirsty berserk wolves and a dark gold mystic tiger were fighting in the city. After transforming into his true form, the strength of the bloodthirsty berserk wolf had risen by several levels. Although it was still being suppressed, it wouldn't be so easy for it to be defeated. Qingling, let's spar as well? Looking at the other battlefield, Di Chang revealed a cold expression between his brows. No problem. Qingling cast a glance at Ningyu before she leaped out and fought with Di Chang. Shocking battles broke out in the 2 battlefields. Di Chang's strength was still formidable. Even if Qingling was a pinnacle 7th grade Earth Sovereign, she still couldn't defeat Di Chang in a short period of time. Ah! Before the 2 battles came to an end, a burst of wild laughter resounded. Without a doubt, it must be Di Chang who let out that laughter. Back in the palace, Di Chang's 3 companions were killed by Ningyu, so he wanted to take revenge. You want to fight with me? Staring at Di Chang, Ningyu revealed an uncertain expression. Although I can still defeat you in a one-on-one fight, I don't like to fight alone. Di Chang shrugged and continued, come out. The reason why your Jin clan's 7th grade Earth Sovereign was taken away was all because of Ningyu's interference. Russell! As Di Chang's voice rang out, the void shattered and a figure slowly walked out of it. 2nd grade Earth Sovereign? Looking at the silhouette that suddenly appeared, Ningyu was first stunned before he revealed a puzzled expression. Di Chang, this is the reinforcement that you've called for? Hearing Ningyu's words and Ningyu's expression, Di Chang was a little puzzled. Has he gone mad, or is his brain rusty? You're only a 7th grade Earth Sovereign, yet you're so calm facing a 2nd grade Earth Sovereign. Needless to say, your brain must be rusty. Looks like I'm destined to be enemies with the Jin clan. Ningyu spread out his hands and revealed a helpless expression. His expression seemed to be saying, I don't want to be enemies with you, but you insist on being enemies with me. You're courting death. Ningyu's expression thoroughly infuriated Di Chang and the Jin clan's 2nd grade Earth Sovereign. Swish! Swish! The 2 of them stomped on the ground, one in front and one behind, and instantly rushed out. The Jin clan's 2nd grade Earth Sovereign was in front, while Di Chang was behind. We're here to help you. Seeing that Di Chang and the others were getting closer to Ningyu, the 4 pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereigns braced themselves and said. Even their elder, Qingling, wanted to protect Ningyu, so they had no other choice. No need. I can deal with these small fries by myself. Ningyu waved his hand, indicating that they didn't have to do anything. Ningyu's words not only made the 4 pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereigns speechless, but also the spectators in the distance were a little confused. It wouldn't be a big deal if you were a 7th grade Earth Sovereign. But you're only a 7th grade Earth Sovereign. Facing a 9th grade Earth Sovereign and a 2nd grade Earth Sovereign, a 7th grade Earth Sovereign actually dared to say such a thing. They had to admit that he was very courageous. What's the background of this Ningyu? I'm not sure. He seems to have appeared out of nowhere. Let's see if he's a dragon or a worm. I'm a little on Ningyu's side. After all, the Jin clan and Divine Emperor Palace haven't done anything bad over the years. Everyone was talking at once, but most of them didn't think highly of Ningyu and thought that Ningyu was doomed. This Ningyu isn't simple. The only one who thought highly of Ningyu wasn't a human sovereign, but a 7th grade Earth Sovereign. Ji Hao of the Broken Dragon Valley. Ever since Ji Hao laid eyes on Ningyu, he knew that Ningyu wasn't simple and that he must be hiding some kind of secret. Elder, you seem to think highly of Ningyu, right? Seeing Ji Hao's expression, a cultivator of the Broken Dragon Valley asked in confusion. In this cultivator's opinion, Ningyu would definitely die. No one in the world could save Ningyu. After so many years, he had never seen a 7th-grade Earth Sovereign who could fight against a 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign. Could Ningyu do it? Chapter 1359. Chapter 1359. Killing one first. I can't say that I'm optimistic about him. I can only say that Ningyu is special, Ji Hao said as he waved his hand. Although he was optimistic about Ningyu, it wasn't convenient for him to say it out in front of so many people. Neither the Emperor Palace nor the Jin family could afford to offend the Broken Dragon Valley. In the Pellet Formation continent, going against the Jin family and the Emperor Palace wouldn't end well. On the surface, there wasn't much difference between the Broken Dragon Valley and the Jin family. But only a few people knew about the actual situation. Ji Hao was one of the few people who did. Ha, shameless! With a burst of laughter, the 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin clan clenched his fist and punched towards Ningyu. This expert from the Jin family had already reached the pinnacle 2nd-grade sovereign realm. His strength was unfathomable. He was one of the top geniuses in the Jin family. Looks like I don't have to do anything. Seeing the powerful attacks from the Jin clan, Di Chong instantly stopped and the corner of his lips rose. The strength of a 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign isn't something that you can, what? However, before Di Chong could finish his words, his mouth was agape, and his face was filled with disbelief. Crack! When the fist of the pinnacle 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin family was a finger away from Ningyu's head, a sudden change occurred. A green branch suddenly flew out from Ningyu's spatial ring and struck the fist of the 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin family. A crisp sound resounded. Everyone saw the 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin family rapidly retreating as if he had seen a ghost. Where are you going? The most shocking thing was yet to come. The 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin family wanted to escape, but Ningyu wouldn't allow that. He stomped his feet on the ground and charged out. He waved the red demonic sword in his hand and several sword rays flew out, slashing towards the 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign of the Jin family. Russell! Ningyu's action left everyone dumbfounded. Even Ji Hao was stunned on the spot and was speechless for a long time. Ji Hao knew that Ningyu was strong, but he didn't expect Ningyu to be this strong. That's a pinnacle 2nd-grade sovereign realm human sovereign, and you've defeated him with a simple emerald green branch? If Ningyu knew what everyone was thinking, he would probably roll his eyes. A random dark green branch? This was probably the first time the sapling had been insulted so badly ever since it gained consciousness. Oh right. While charging towards the Jin clan's pinnacle 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign, Ningyu transmitted his voice to the sapling. Won't you attract the attention of the 100 Flowers, Heavenly Sovereign, and the rest? To be honest, Ningyu was very worried. Even though the sapling had said that the true bodies of Heavenly Venerate Centauria and the others weren't here, who wasn't afraid? Both Empyrean 100 Flowers and the old lady from God Emperor Palace were at the Sky Supreme Realm. A single mishap might cause them to spy on him, and that would be a bit of a loss that outweighs the gains. It's fine. They can't even take care of themselves right now. How could they notice us? The sapling said indifferently, I'm warning you, leave as soon as you get rid of this small fry. Understood. Ningyu naturally knew the severity of the situation. In fact, Ningyu didn't need the sapling's reminder. He had already made up his mind. He would kill the Jin clan's pinnacle 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign, kill Di Chong, and then find a way to leave the city. As for fighting against the dark gold mystical tiger? What a joke. Didn't they see that Scarface and ferocious mystical wolves were already at a disadvantage? If they continued to fight, Scarface and ferocious mystical wolves would definitely be defeated or even killed. Where are you going? After realizing the seriousness of the situation, Ningyu instantly raised his speed to the limit and charged towards the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign. The Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign was originally very powerful and fast, but there was a gust of chi colliding in his body, making him a little exhausted. Damn it! The Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign cursed inwardly and stopped. Ningyu, don't go too far. The Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign said coldly while suppressing the chi in his body, hoping to stall for time. Kill. How could Ningyu not know what the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign was planning? He took out the red demon's sword and slashed repeatedly. In a split second, several sword rays appeared and slashed towards the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign. Law of space, bring me closer to him. Ningyu's killing intent was aroused and he began to contact the law of space. Buzz. The law of space did not dare to be slow. It hurriedly tore through the void with Ningyu and appeared in front of the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign in the blink of an eye. Shit. As soon as Ningyu disappeared, the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign realized that something was wrong. However, with the help of the law of space, Ningyu's speed was so fast that it was terrifying. Poof! Tearing through the void, Ningyu stabbed out with the red demon sword. Precisely, Ningyu's sword stabbed into the Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign's heart. Primordial Spirit Battle Physique. With a low roar, Ningyu hurriedly took out the 10,000 sacred flag and summoned the Primordial Spirit Battle Physique. The Jin clan's pinnacle second-grade Earth Sovereign did not expect that Ningyu would have such a thing. Chapter 1360. Find a way to get out of here. Elder, save me. Seeing that the flames were about to reach him, Di Chong shouted. He even forgot to resist. Trash, hurry up and resist. Di Chong was infuriated. He was angry at both Ningyu and Di Chong. Most of all, he was disappointed in Di Chong. Ningyu is only a 7th-grade human sovereign. No matter how strong he is, it's impossible for him to kill you in a short period of time. If you resist with all your strength and use all your trump cards, you can at least resist for a few seconds. These few seconds were not to be underestimated. As long as Di Chong had a few seconds, he would be able to deal a fatal blow to Ningyu. But now everything was a mess. Di Chong was nervous. He only cared about calling for help and did not resist. Even though Di Chong's roar had awakened Di Chong, everyone knew that it was too late. In a panic, Di Chong responded. The primal chi in his body surged out, forming a protective primal chi barrier around his body. Rumble. Unfortunately, the flame Ningyu had unleashed was too powerful. Wherever the flames passed, the air parted. Even the Yuan Chi protective barrier around Di Chong shattered. Poochie. The protective barrier shattered and Di Chong was directly exposed to the attack range of the flames. The flames did not hold back and directly bombarded Di Chang's heart. It entered from the front and exited from the back. It did not stay in Di Chang's body for even a second. How did you? Lowering his head to look at his pierced heart, Di Chong opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but before he could finish his words, he collapsed to the ground, dead. Di Chang's death was extremely thorough. Even his essence spirit was wiped out before it could escape. At this moment, all the surrounding martial artists looked at the flame with a solemn expression. It was a flame that could kill essence souls. No one was surprised that a primordial spirit battle body could devour a primordial spirit. After all, this was a publicly acknowledged fact in the Skyfiend region. However, to everyone's surprise, this flame could also destroy primordial spirit. Ningyu, you're courting death. Looking at Di Chong being killed right in front of his eyes, Di Chong was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. One had to know that his mission in the huge city was to help the dark gold mystic tiger recover and protect Dichang. Now that the first mission was completed, the second mission was declared a failure. Even if he left the huge city, he would still be berated by Di Wuba. If you want to kill Ningyu, you'll have to get past me first. Since she had decided to protect Ningyu, Tring Ling would not give up halfway. She kept Di Chang occupied so that he could not kill Ningyu. Ningyu, what should we do now? At this moment Jin Lan was so shocked that he was even stuttering. The fact that Ningyu could kill a second-grade Earth Sovereign had indeed exceeded her expectations. It had also strengthened her resolve to help Ningyu. Salad. Ningyu's expression was very calm. He spread his hands and said, Aya, if there's really no other way, we'll leave the altar right now. Jin Lan stomped his feet in anger when he saw Ningyu acting like he had nothing to lose, and he said, I have a space break scroll. I'll use it as soon as we leave the altar. By then, we'll be randomly teleported to some place in the Danqing continent. You have a space-piercing scroll? At this moment, Ningyu was finally shocked. It was no wonder Jin Lan had always been fearless when facing him. The space-piercing scroll was extremely terrifying. It could tear through a barrier set up by a Sky Supreme expert. With the space-piercing scroll, Jin Lan was indeed confident. I only have one, and it can only take 2 people. Jin Lan looked at Tring Ling and the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves in the distance, and said in a low voice, You keep the scroll. I don't need it. Ningyu waved his hand and said, Although the space-piercing scroll was terrifying, it could only take 2 people at a time. On his side, including himself, the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves, and Cheng Ling, there were nearly 10 people at the peak of the 9th grade human supreme. How could a space-piercing scroll do that? But Jin Lan opened his mouth and wanted to remind Ningyu. However, seeing Ningyu's expression, Jin Lan didn't continue. This is really troublesome. The law of space, the sapling, do you have any ideas? Ningyu began to contact the law of space and the sapling. No matter what, he had to take the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves away. The Danqing continent was full of danger. He had not even left the Void Secret Land, but he had already become enemies with several forces. Emperor God Palace was a force. Even if they didn't look for Ningyu, Ningyu would find trouble with them. Ningyu had completely offended the Jin family, and it was a situation where he would not rest until he was dead. As for the elixir puppet of the Celestial Elixir Ridge, and the black-clothed martial artists of the 3 stone caves, they were both big trouble. Without a few powerful monsters following him, Ningyu was a little worried. This world was a dog-eat-dog world. There was no rule that the older generation couldn't attack the younger generation. Usually, when the younger generation was beaten up, the older generation would come. Of course, if the person who beat up the younger generation had a strong background, the older generation would definitely not show up. There is a way, but the success rate may be a little low. After a while, the law of space said, The giant city is a bit special. I can find a way to break a passage, but I'm not sure where we will be teleported after leaving the giant city. Just tell me, what's our chance of survival? Ningyu asked. Less than 50%, the law of space said. That's already very high. What if we take the 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves with us? What's our chance of survival? Ningyu asked again. No matter what, Ningyu had to take Scar and the bloodthirsty mad wolves with him. Because once they were left behind, they would definitely die. The dark gold mystic tiger was not a pushover. I told you, less than 50%. The law of space was puzzled. Is there something wrong with your head? You're the one with the problem. Ningyu rolled his eyes. Since there was such a high success rate with 2 bloodthirsty mad wolves, it was worth the risk. Do you want to prepare? Ningyu took a deep breath and said in a low voice. No need. I'll open a passage later. You just need to go in, the law of space said. His tone seemed a bit serious. No problem. Ningyu knew that this was a critical moment of life and death. He couldn't be careless. Therefore, he first asked Cheng Ling for her opinion through soul sound transmission. Cheng Ling glanced at Ningyu and surprisingly didn't stop him. However, she made it clear that she wouldn't leave with Ningyu. They wanted to leave from the altar. They were different from Ningyu. Once they left the giant city, their lives wouldn't be in danger. The 100 Flowers Palace's Fairy Yun, she wasn't someone to be trifled with. If you can survive, try to go to the 100 Flowers Palace, Cheng Ling warned. However, when these words fell into Ningyu's ears, he felt very speechless. No matter how he listened to it, it didn't sound good. Next, Ningyu asked for Jean Lan's opinion. The result was obvious. Jean Lan refused and wanted to invite Ningyu to leave with her. Naturally, Ningyu wouldn't leave with Jean Lan. Scar and the bloodthirsty mad wolves, get ready. Listen to my orders. Chapter 1361. Chapter 1361. Chapter 1361. The impact of Ningyu's voice transmission was not weak. Scarred Wolf and Ferocious Bloodthirsty Wolf were careless. The dark gold mystic tiger seized the opportunity and knocked them back. Blood spurted out of their mouths, and the two wolves' auras became extremely weak. Damn it! Seeing Scarred Wolf and Ferocious Wolf vomiting blood, Ningyu's face darkened. After all, Scarred Wolf and Ferocious Wolf were injured because of him. Fortunately, Ningyu was relieved that Scarred Wolf and Ferocious Wolf were sent flying in his direction. Buzz, buzz, buzz. At the same time, the law of space began to move. The space shook, and in an instant, a space tunnel formed by golden light appeared. Let's go! Ningyu shouted when he saw the law of space set up a spatial tunnel. Then, he leaped up and entered the tunnel. Swoosh! Swoosh! Behind Ningyu, Scarred Wolf and Ferocious Wolf did not dare to delay. They hurriedly tore through the void and rushed toward the space tunnel. Scarred Wolf and Ferocious Wolf knew very well that they would die if they stayed. At this time, they had to trust Ningyu unconditionally. Their confidence could not be shaken. Therefore, Scarred Wolf and Ferocious Wolf were very fast. They did not even hesitate to burn their blood essence to increase their speed. Scarred Wolf and Ferocious Wolf were not far from the space tunnel. Coupled with their speed, they arrived in front of the tunnel in an instant. Without saying a word, Scarred Wolf and Ferocious Wolf jumped into the space tunnel. Roar! It was not until Ningyu and Ferocious Wolf completely disappeared that the dark gold mystic tiger and Di Chong reacted. They moved forward side by side, madly rushing toward the space tunnel. Boom! Unfortunately, their speed was obviously slower by half a beat. As soon as Scarred Wolf and Ferocious Wolf entered the space tunnel, it closed completely and everything returned to normal. Let's go! Cheng Ling glanced in the direction where the space tunnel disappeared, then jumped out and rushed to the altar. Swoosh! 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 Behind Cheng Ling, 5 figures quickly rushed out. Needless to say, the extra figure was Jean Lan. Retreat! Since Ningyu and the others had escaped, there was no need for Ji Hao to stay. He escorted the 4-peak 9th-grade human supremes of the Broken Dragon Valley and approached the altar step by step, wanting to leave from the altar. Voila! Not only did Broken Dragon Valley's Ji Hao want to leave, but even the Great Sword Sects and Fire God Sects cultivators wanted to leave like a swarm of bees. They had entered the giant city relatively early, so they had obtained some good fortune. Although they hadn't advanced to the first-grade Earth Sovereign realm, they knew that nothing good would come out of staying here. Anyway, the 3 hours were almost up, and they wouldn't lose much if they left now. Outside the empty secret realm, after a period of recuperation, Jin Xiong and the others finally recovered to their peak state. After sending 4 7th-grade Earth Sovereigns into the giant city, Jin Xiong and the rest had encountered an unprecedented crisis. Fortunately, they were very strong and had a solid foundation. Otherwise, this kind of injury would take them a long time to recuperate. How long do you think we should wait? The quiet area was broken by a voice. The cultivator who spoke came from a small sect and was a fifth-grade human supremacy. Originally, this small sect wanted to try their luck, but who would have thought that the conditions to enter the giant city were so high that they completely lost hope. Now that they had waited for a few hours, they had lost their patience and even wanted to leave. It's hard to say. It depends on how long those geniuses stay in there. That's right. According to my estimation, at least 80% of the peerless geniuses who entered the giant city will advance to the Earth's sovereign realm. 80%? You're underestimating them. In my opinion, it must be 100%. Humph. Before the last cultivator could finish his sentence, Jin Xiong and Di Wuba snorted coldly at the same time. Hearing Jin Xiong and Di Wuba's cold snorts, the cultivator who spoke just now instantly shut his mouth. 80%? 100%? That was purely courting death. One should know that the 4 peerless geniuses of the Jin clan had all died in the giant city. The Emperor Divine Palace was slightly better, but they also lost 3 peerless geniuses. How could they say that? Crack! At this moment, a crisp sound rang out again. Hearing this figure, everyone was dumbfounded. A cultivator from the Emperor Divine Palace opened his mouth wide as he looked at the shattered soul token in his hand. His face was filled with fear. Needless to say, the last peerless genius of the Emperor Divine Palace had also been killed. Crack crack! Di Wuba clenched his fists tightly and his body trembled domineeringly. Whether a sect could prosper for a long time depended on the number of peerless geniuses and high-end combat strength. After losing 4 peerless geniuses this time, Di Wuba's heart was bleeding. He finally understood what Jin Xiong was thinking. Whoosh! Suddenly, the altar emitted a bright golden light. Then, several figures tore through the void and appeared on the altar. It's the people from the 100-Flower Palace. 4 of them are peak 9th-grade human sovereigns and a 7th-grade Earth Supreme. They are all unharmed. Who is that woman? Why did she use a space-piercing scroll? Did she leave? The people from the Broken Dragon Valley are also unharmed. Look, it's the people from the Great Sword Sect, Fire God Sect, Evil Monarch Manor, and Death Valley. It seems that the peerless genius of the Great Sword Sect has obtained some good fortune. Although he did not advance to the Earth Supreme Realm, his cultivation has reached the half-step Earth Supreme Realm. The people from the Fire God Sect are not bad. They are only half a step away from the half-step Earth Supreme Realm. The people from the Evil Monarch Manor and Death Valley are a little worse. They don't seem to have obtained much good fortune. Everyone was discussing, and the surroundings were lively. Of course, some people were happy while others were sad. The one who was most depressed was Jin Xiong. Not only did the 4 peerless geniuses die inside, but even a 2nd-grade Earth Supreme Realm died inside. What was more exaggerated was that the 7th-grade Earth Supreme Realm, Jin Fu, did not leave either. Look, someone else came out. Suddenly, everyone's gaze shifted to the altar. Rumble! A rumbling sound rang out, and then the altar emitted a bright golden light. 2 figures quietly appeared. It's Di Chang. Who's the other one? It seems to be a demonic beast. I know, it's the dark golden mystic tiger, and its cultivation has reached the 6th-grade Earth Supreme Realm. Just when everyone's attention was on the dark golden mystic tiger, a powerful voice resounded in the area. From today onwards, the Void Secret Realm will be closed for 3 years. No one is allowed to step into the Void Secret Realm. Anyone who dares to step into the Void Secret Realm will be killed without mercy. Hua! This sentence was extremely powerful and domineering, leaving no room for negotiation. The surroundings were in an uproar. But everyone was clear that no one wanted to stand out at this time. The Void Secret Realm was a good place to train. If the Void Secret Realm was closed, The ones who would suffer the most would be the Jin clan, Emperor Palace, and the other powerful sections. Swish. Chapter 1362. Chapter 1362. Chapter 1362. Starcloud City. Both Di Wuba and Jin Lan's faces darkened when they heard the powerful voice. The closure of the Void Secret Realm was indeed a great loss to them. However, as the higher-ups of their respective sects, they more or less knew what had happened in the Void Secret Realm. None of them had expected this to happen, and there was nothing they could do about it. By the way, why hasn't the 7th grade Earth Supreme of the Jin clan come out? Suddenly, someone thought of a terrifying possibility. Now that the Void Secret Realm was closed, and the 7th grade Earth Supreme of the Jin clan had yet to leave, wouldn't that mean that he would be trapped in there for 3 years? Whoosh! Everyone's eyes fell on Jin Xiong. Senior, there are still people from the Jin clan in the Void Secret Realm. Can you make an exception? Thinking of Jin Fu and Jin Liefei, and the others who had entered the Void Secret Realm not long ago, Jin Xiong had to bite the bullet. Those people were the higher-ups of the Jin clan. If they were all trapped in the Void Secret Realm for 3 years, the strength of the Jin clan would be greatly affected. It might even drop by a level. Even if those people came out of the Void Secret Realm after 3 years, it might be man-made. I know what you're thinking, but I can tell you clearly that there are no humans in the Void Secret Realm. The voice came out from the altar again. However, Jin Xiong's jaw dropped when he heard the voice. He was completely dumbfounded. There were no humans in the Void Secret Realm? If that was the case, where were Jin Liefei and the others who had entered the Void Secret Realm? Were they all dead? All kinds of doubts flashed through Jin Xiong's mind. Finally, Jin Xiong felt a tightness in his chest, and he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. 4 peerless geniuses were killed. That was fine. The Jin clan still had other geniuses. A 2nd grade Earth Supreme was killed. That was fine. The Jin clan still had many Earth Supreme experts. Jin Fu's death was not something that could not be accepted. However, the death of Jin Liefei and the others was like a bolt from the blue to the Jin clan. It was unacceptable. Let's go. With a gloomy expression, Jin Xiong waved his hand and rushed toward the Qin Empire. Jin Xiong was very anxious. He wanted to tell this matter to the Jin family's ancestor, and he also wanted to seal off the news. This was especially true for the hostile forces of the Jin clan. They could not be allowed to know that Jin Liefei and the others had been completely annihilated. Otherwise, all the forces would definitely gather in the Qin Empire. At that time, it was still unknown whether the Jin family could continue to hold on. Jin Xiong leaving in such a hurry made everyone very puzzled. Although they were confused, since the empty secret realm would be sealed for 3 years, there was no need for these people to stay. Voila! Therefore, the crowd dispersed and quickly disappeared. Buzz. Not long after everyone left, a figure quietly appeared. Did he really die inside? This figure was none other than the one who had a conflict with Ningyu in the Celestial Dan Hall, Xie Yi. After pausing for a while, Xie Yi's figure flashed as he flew into the distance. Buzz. After a while, the space cracked open again. The 2 figures that appeared this time were the black-clothed martial artist and the 3-legged golden crow. What a pity! The empty secret realm has been sealed for 3 years. I won't be able to get the Kuan Pung bone. The black-clothed martial artist shook his head and said, "The winds are rising and the clouds are gathering. I didn't expect someone from the Danqi to appear. It seems like I will have to switch to another clone." As he spoke, the black-clothed martial artist's figure gradually became illusory. Very quickly, he turned into a shadow and disappeared. The black-clothed martial artist disappeared. The 3-legged golden crow shuddered. For some reason, the 3-legged golden crow felt that the black-clothed martial artist had not gone far. It was as if he was staring at it from the void. I should return to the clan as soon as possible. The 3-legged golden crow looked left and right. Then, he flapped his wings and flew in a specific direction. After everyone left, at the exit of the empty secret realm, the ground below the altar suddenly caved in. The altar that stood above the ground completely sank into the ground. This trip to the empty secret realm had some happy and some sad. However, everyone agreed that in the coming days, the Qianye Empire and even the entire Dan-Chi mainland would be reshuffled. Star Cloud City. Located in the center of the Qianye Empire, it was the largest city in the Qianye Empire apart from the capital. The city walls were tall and the buildings in the city were majestic. It had a majestic aura. Rumor had it that when Star Cloud City was first built, all the alchemy geniuses in the Qianye Empire gathered in Star Cloud City to hold the alchemy competition of the Qianye Empire. In the end, an alchemy genius named Xing Yun won first place, and Star Cloud City was named after him. Since then, Star Cloud City had become the holy land of alchemy in the Qianye Empire. Almost all the alchemists in the Qianye Empire would head to Star Cloud City, hoping to enter Star Cloud Academy and become a member. This was because the dean of Star Cloud Academy was Grandmaster Xing Yun, a peak 9th grade alchemist. In the Sky Demon territory, any peak 9th grade alchemist was a high and mighty existence. If anyone could receive guidance from Grandmaster Xing Yun, they would probably wake up smiling even in their dreams. Star Cloud City was especially lively today. Not only were all the alchemists in the Qianye Empire gathered here, but even the other 3 empires had sent their own alchemy geniuses over, hoping to receive guidance from Grandmaster Xing Yun. There were a total of 4 empires in the Danqing mainland: Qianye Empire, Cloudy Wind Empire, Heavenly Dragon Empire, and Purple Sun Empire. Although there were 9th grade alchemists in the other 3 empires, their alchemy level was only at the advanced stage of 9th grade alchemy. There was always a layer of paper between them and a peak 9th grade alchemist. "Hey, have you heard? Grandmaster Xing Yun said that whoever wins first place in this alchemy competition will have the opportunity to talk to him face to face." Who doesn't know? In order to have a chance to talk to Grandmaster Xing Yun, the other 3 empires sent their strongest lineup. Even the peerless genius who had just gone into seclusion was called over. "What are you guys waiting for? Hurry up, there won't be any seats left if you wait any longer." Russell. All the martial artists and alchemists in Star Cloud City were boiling with excitement. Everyone rushed towards the Nebula Academy, striving to outdo each other. Because there were too many people participating in this alchemy competition, Grandmaster Xing Yun announced that only alchemists under the age of 30 were allowed to participate, and the strength of their soul force could not be weaker than 5th grade alchemy. In order to facilitate the registration, there were a total of 10 registration tables in front of the main entrance of Star Cloud Academy. Behind each registration table, there was a huge soul testing tablet. As long as one placed their hand on it, the tablet would show the level of their soul force. "Sister Yao, we can't go on like this. Should we lower our requirements a little?" Out of the 10 registration tables, the other 9 were full of people. Only the first registration table had no one in sight. "I'm very curious." Inside the first registration table, a beautiful lady frowned and said, "Our requirements are very low. Why didn't anyone come? Are they not confident?" Hearing the beautiful lady's words, the other 2 young men who were in charge of recording rolled their eyes and were speechless. "You call this low requirements?" The other registration tables had very simple requirements. As long as one was under the age of 30, and the strength of their soul force was higher than 5th grade alchemist. Chapter 1363. Sign up. There's still no one on Yao Qiong's side. That's right. Look at her life-saving requirement. An alchemist under the age of 25 must have a soul force strength of 8th grade. Does she think that everyone is as abnormal as her? I don't know what she's thinking. This alchemy competition was personally ordered by Grandmaster Xing Yun, but she insisted on coming to cause trouble. Someone else is qualified to cause trouble. That person is the last disciple of Master Xingyun. It might be Master Xingyun's order. Let's not ask around blindly. Registration is more important. The discussions of the crowd entered into the ears of Xia Qing and Zhao Tai, causing them to be speechless. What did he mean by Master Xingyun's order? Others might not know, but the two of them knew very well. Within Nebula Academy, there was a pagoda called the Yuzun Pagoda. The Tower of Ascension had a total of 9 levels, and it was rumored that each level corresponded to a soul force strength. In other words, a 5th grade soul force could ascend to the 5th floor, and a 7th grade soul force could ascend to the 7th floor. However, there were exceptions to everything. Even if one's soul force reached the pinnacle of Tier 8, there was no way to ascend to the 8th level of the Nebula Pagoda. Yao Qiong's soul force was at the 8th grade. Over the years, she had entered the Tower of Yuzun more than once, but without exception, she had always stopped at the 7th level. Therefore, every time Nebula Academy recruited students or held an alchemy competition, she would set up a registration counter and write down the requirement. Age below 25 years old. Soul power strength, tentatively set at rank 8. Higher wouldn't be a problem. As long as he could reach the 8th level of the Tower of Yuzun, the conditions could be relaxed. Sister Yao, we've been waiting here for half a day. I don't think anyone will come to sign up. Xia Qing braced herself and said. Zhao Tai also had a hopeful look on his face. The two of them were forced to come. They had no choice but to come. After all, be it in martial arts or alchemy, Yao Qiong would definitely crush them. Who says no one will come? Yao Qiong's face was expressionless as she said, I observed the stars last night and realized that someone would be coming to register today. All right. Upon hearing Yao Qiong's words, Xia Qing and Zhao Tai both pulled long faces and looked dispirited. Someone came to sign up? Even if there were people who met the requirements, they would never sign up. Any talented alchemist would have heard of the Tower of Ascension. The Tower of the Supreme of You was indeed very special. Every time one ascended a level, they would be rewarded with many things. However, one had to pay a hefty price to enter the Tower of Yuzu. Someone had calculated that unless one reached the 8th level of the Tower of Yuzun, they would suffer a loss if they entered. They would lose so much that they wouldn't even be left with their pants. In the past, there were a few idiots who came to sign up, but when they heard that they had to pay a huge price to enter, they all cried and shouted that they wanted to give up. It would be strange if someone came to sign up. That's right. No one will come to sign up. It's time to open, it's time to open. 1 bet, 1 to 10. Don't miss it. Hurry up and buy. I guarantee that you'll make a fortune. I'll do it, I'll do it. 1,000 royal grade origin crystals. No one will come and sign up. Go, 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 go. Didn't you hear what I said? I'll only open 1 betting stand. If someone comes over to sign up for this stand, I'll pay you back 10 times for every one you buy. I'm honest with you. Before the voice of the martial artist who had set up the bet had faded, the crowd dispersed in an uproar. Buy people to sign up? What a joke, no one wanted to lose origin crystals for nothing. Sigh, what bad luck. It's getting worse every year. The martial artist who had set up the bet lightly sighed. But very quickly he changed his tone and said, Damn, your requirements are so high. Unless someone falls from the sky and directly falls onto your registration stand, if anyone dares to sign up at your stand, I'll crack. The martial artist had only spoken halfway when his mouth opened wide. His eyes widened and his face was filled with a dumbfounded expression. Swoosh. Apart from this martial artist, even the martial artists at the entrance of the Nebula Academy were dumbfounded. What the hell? This was the thought in everyone's mind. The space above the registration stand where Yao Qiong and the others were at split open. A figure fell down and smashed the registration stand into pieces. Gulp. Swallowing a mouthful of saliva, The martial artist who had set up the bet felt that it was inconceivable. He said, "Someone really fell from the sky. Fortunately, I didn't open the bet just now. Otherwise, I would have lost so much that I wouldn't even have my underwear left." Oh my God, there's really someone who wants to sign up? Could it be that he's attracted by Yao Qiong's beauty and wants to use this method to attract Yao Qiong's attention? That's really possible. The crowd discussed, but the majority agreed with this view. In Nebula City, and even in the Thousand-Leaf Empire, there were countless people who liked Yao Qiong. In order to woo Yao Qiong, some people used all kinds of methods. Needless to say, this martial artist's method was indeed quite novel. Secretly, some young men gave the grimacing man on the ground a thumbs up. The law of space, where the hell did you bring me? Rubbing his slightly painful butt, Ningyu couldn't help but start complaining. Although he knew that he had successfully survived, Ningyu still wanted to complain. After all, the law of space could have helped him, but he didn't. There's an expert. It's not convenient for me to act. The voice of the law of space sounded in Ningyu's mind. Hearing this voice, Ningyu was first stunned. Then, he exerted some force in his legs and stood up. "My apologies, I broke your table. I'll compensate you." Looking at the wooden splinters on the ground, Ningyu said, "I can't find you a table that's exactly the same in a short period of time. How about this, I'll give you a few crystals." As he spoke, Ningyu's perception rummaged through his storage ring, trying to find crystals. Very soon, Ningyu revealed an awkward expression. The current him was a pauper. Forget crystals, he didn't even have gold coins. "Are you here to sign up?" Yao Qiong stared at Ningyu and asked. "Sign up?" Ningyu was taken aback and asked doubtfully, "Sign up for what?" "Ha ha ha!" Ningyu's words caused the surrounding martial artists to burst into laughter. "All of you, shut up." Yao Qiong flipped out and said coldly, "I'll ask you one last time. Are you here to sign up?" Yao Qiong enunciated the last few words one at a time. Her words, combined with Yao Qiong's aura, caused the surrounding martial artists to shut up. "My apologies, I'm not here to sign up." Ningyu frowned and shook his head. "You don't have to sign up, but you have to compensate me for my table." "An identical table," Yao Qiong said coldly. Ningyu was dumbfounded. He had just escaped from the void mystic realm. He had not even figured out what was going on, and he was already in trouble again? Sign up? Sign up for what? What the F***ck? There was only one thought in Ningyu's mind, and that was to leave as soon as possible to prevent being discovered by the Jin family's experts. Chapter 1364. Chapter 1364. Decapitation. Yao Qiong is furious. That cultivator has to agree whether he wants to or not. Isn't that right? Yao Qiong is famous for being domineering. Once she has set her mind on something, she will never change. "Hey kid, you'd better agree to it. Otherwise, you won't be able to leave." "That's right, agreeing to it won't be a bad thing for you." As the crowd discussed, they even started to persuade Ningyu. Of course, most of the cultivators were just watching the show. As the saying went, watching a show doesn't mind if things get out of hand. I really have something urgent to attend to." Ningyu put on a long face and pretended to be very anxious. "How about this? Tomorrow, I promise to come and sign up," Ningyu said righteously, with a look of awe-inspiring righteousness. Yao Qiong crossed her arms in front of her chest and looked at Ningyu quietly without saying a word. Her request was very simple. Sign up or pay for an identical table. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving. In my opinion, you should agree to Sister Yao." Seeing that the situation was a little awkward, Xia Qing could only bite the bullet and approach Ningyu. She lowered her voice and said, "In the past, there were a few people like you who wanted to attract Sister Yao's attention. In the end, they were all crippled." As she spoke, Xia Qing casually glanced at Ningyu's lower body. Xia Qing's action made Ning Yu's heart skip a beat. He hurriedly clamped his legs together. What the F***ck, are you trying to let me live? I've brought the message. As for how you choose, I won't make the decision for you. Xia Qing pretended to leave as if nothing had happened. Gulp. Ning Yu swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He was really unlucky. He had just emerged from the pitch-black spatial tunnel. He did not even see the scarred and ferocious bloodthirsty berserk wolves, but he actually encountered such a thing. What? You're talking about forced buying? I can tell you honestly, it's even more terrifying than that. Alright, I agree to it. One had no choice but to lower one's head under the eaves. Moreover, the law of space said that there was a peerless powerhouse here. Ning Yu didn't want to be in danger again right after escaping from danger. That's more like it. Follow me. Yao Qiong nodded with satisfaction and said, There's no time to lose. I'll take you there right now. Wait. As she spoke, Yao Qiong seemed to have thought of something. He turned around and looked at Ning Yu. You should be younger than 25, right? Ning Yu was confused, but he still said, Yes, less than 25. What rank is your soul power? Yao Qiong asked again. Why are you asking this? Ning Yu frowned. He did not know what Yao Qiong meant. What I mean is, what grade of alchemist are you? Yao Qiong said in a deep voice. Am I an alchemist? I'm not an alchemist. Ning Yu stretched out his right hand and pointed at his nose, revealing an exaggerated expression. No matter how stupid Ning Yu was, from the whispers of the crowd and the words on the registration platform, he found some clues. In the end, this Nebula Academy was holding a face competition, and today was the registration day. After discovering these clues, Ning Yu naturally had to find a way to leave. This was the Thousand-Leaf Empire. Even if there was an alchemy competition, the Jin family would definitely participate. If this Yao Qiong made things difficult for him again, he would definitely run. The crowd burst into laughter when they heard Ning Yu's words. In the end, he wasn't even an alchemist. How embarrassing! Beauty Yao is going to suffer this time. I didn't expect her to fail because of this guy. In my opinion, this guy is definitely an alchemist. He just doesn't want to go to the Yuzuan Tower. I agree. Yao Qiong thinks that everyone is like her, able to enter the Yuzuan Tower at any time. Every time the Yuzuan Tower opens, it consumes a huge amount of resources. Ordinary people can't afford it. Hearing this, Ning Yu's heart stirred. He didn't know Yao Qiong, nor had he heard of Nebula Academy. However, he knew this Yuzuan Tower very well. To be precise, in his previous life, this Yuzuan Tower belonged to him. The Yuzuan Tower specialized in nurturing alchemist geniuses. It could allow alchemists to improve even further. Any 8th grade alchemist under the age of 30 who could ascend to the 8th floor of the Yuzuan Tower would unconditionally increase their soul force by 1 level. The reason why the Yuzuan Tower was so abnormal was because Ning Yu had left 2 ancient arrays on the 8th and 9th floor. These 2 ancient arrays had the effect of nourishing the soul, which was a great help in cultivating soul force. In his previous life, Ning Yu accepted a disciple. Of course, the news of Ning Yu accepting a disciple was not known by anyone in the vast sky demon domain. When he was besieged, that disciple happened to be inside the Yuzuan Tower and did not come out, so he was lucky enough to escape. Did that kid change his name to Grandmaster Xingyun? Ning Yu's heart shook. He vaguely remembered that the disciple he accepted was an orphan. However, he was talented in alchemy, willing to endure hardships and study hard. It was because of that disciple's willingness to endure hardships that Ning Yu decided to give him the Yuzuan Tower. Otherwise, why would Ning Yu give a treasure as precious as the Yuzuan Tower to someone else so easily? This was because the Yuzuan Tower had a secret. It wasn't just a tower, but a treasure that surpassed the emperor rank. Thinking of this, Ning Yu sorted out his thoughts and smiled apologetically at Yao Qiong. I'm sorry, I was just joking. I'm actually an 8th grade alchemist. Ningyu's calm demeanor and the change in his expression caused the crowd to burst into laughter once more. This is too funny. Is he a clown hired by a monkey? More or less, but he's quite bold. That's Yao Qiong, the devil Yao. He actually dared to tease her like this. Maybe he's bold because he's skilled? Didn't you hear him say that he's an 8th grade alchemist? The crowd's discussion fell into Yao Qiong's ears, and she was instantly infuriated. How dare he tease me? Whoosh! With both feet on the ground, Yao Qiong quickly rushed out. Sister Yao, don't. Seeing Yao Qiong rush out, Xia Qing hurriedly shouted. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and apologize to Sister Yao. On the other side, Zhao Tai also hurriedly reminded Ningyu. Young man, hurry up and beg for mercy. Otherwise, Devil Yao will kill you. Don't scare the handsome little guy. At most, Devil Yao will cripple him. How could he kill him? Demons may be tyrannical, but they still have a sense of propriety. At most, they'll cripple him and make him a eunuch. Some tried to persuade Ningyu to admit his mistake, while others just wanted to watch the show and add fuel to the fire. Although there were many different opinions, everyone had the same thought. Ningyu was going to suffer. Yao Qiong was Grandmaster Xing Yun's eldest disciple. Not only was her soul force at the late 8th grade, but her cultivation was also at the peak of 9th grade. Chapter 1365. Frost Iron Sect Brat, take this. Otherwise, don't even think of leaving today. Yao Qiong's speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, she had arrived before Ningyu. She clenched her right hand into a fist and violently punched towards Ningyu. On the surface, Yao Qiong's punch seemed very powerful. However, that wasn't the case. This was the Nebula Academy, and with so many people watching, she naturally wouldn't kill. 50% of her strength. Yao Qiong's original intention was to teach Ningyu a lesson. Therefore, she had only used 50% of her strength. However, Yao Qiong was a pinnacle 9th grade sovereign. Therefore, 50% of her strength was also very shocking. Have mercy, I was only joking with you. Looking at the fist that was inches away from him, Ningyu yelled in an attempt to wake Yao Qiong up. However, Yao Qiong had already determined that Ningyu was teasing her. No matter what, she would still throw this punch. Since he couldn't dodge it, Ningyu could only bite the bullet and throw a punch out. Boom! The two fists collided. Ningyu was like a kite with its string cut as he fell backwards. Crack! Ningyu's body slammed into another registration platform, shattering it into pieces. I'm sorry. After that move, Ningyu hastily crawled up from the ground and apologized profusely. In fact, Ningyu was very clear that he couldn't reveal his martial Dao strength here, no matter what. Not to mention the peerless experts in the Nebula Academy, there were also many Earth sovereigns amongst the spectators. Revealing his martial Dao strength here was simply courting death. Ha! Everyone burst into laughter when they saw Ningyu smash another registration platform. Not simple, this person is not simple. In the crowd, a young man in black frowned his brows as he stared at Ningyu and said, "Find a way to investigate his background." Investigate. Find out his background. We can't afford any mistakes in the alchemy competition organized by the Nebula Academy. Check it out. If there's no one behind him, find a way to kill him. What Ningyu didn't know was that he had become the target of public criticism because he didn't suffer any serious injuries from Yao Qiong's attack. Of course, Ningyu did not care about what these people thought. At this moment, he slowly walked toward Yao Qiong and said, "I was just joking. I really am an 8th grade alchemist. If you don't believe me, you can check it." "Are you really an 8th grade apothecary?" Hearing Ningyu's words, coupled with the fact that Ningyu had withstood her punch and remained unscathed, Yao Qiong's heart wavered a little. In the flesh, Ningyu raised his head and puffed out his chest. Humph! What's going on today? Why does any Tom, Dick, or Harry dare to come here? At this moment, a cold snort sounded from the crowd. Then, a young man in white walked straight towards Ningyu. Sister Yao, I completely meet your requirements. Can you bring me to the Yuzuan Tower now? Ningyu ignored the man in white, and even began to call Yao Qiong as Sister Yao. The Yuzuan Tower was an artifact and a good place to train one's soul force. Although he didn't know why the Yuzuan Tower was in Nebula Academy, Ningyu was very clear that as long as he could reach the 8th floor of the tower, his soul force would rise to the peak of 8th grade. Most importantly, Ningyu wanted to reach the 10th floor of the Yuzuan Tower and activate the array there to take away the Yuzuan Tower. In any case, the Yuzuan Tower belonged to Ningyu 20 years ago. If Ningyu took it away, there would be no psychological burden. Didn't you hear what I said? Seeing Ningyu ignore him, the man in white's face instantly turned gloomy. He scolded, "You said you're an 8th grade alchemist, so you're an 8th grade alchemist. What proof do you have?" Sister Yao, I guarantee that I meet the requirement. Why don't we go to the Yuzuan Tower now? With my talent, not to mention the 8th floor, even the 9th and 10th floor would be a cinch. Ningyu patted his chest and guaranteed, as if ascending the Yuzuan Tower was as simple as eating a meal. I'm so angry. The man in white trembled with anger. No matter what, he was a peerless genius of the Frost Metal School. The man in front of him didn't give him any face, which made him furious. Yao Qiong, this brat has provoked you time and time again. It's not convenient for you to act. Let me teach him a lesson. After all, this was Nebula Academy. The man in white didn't dare to act without Yao Qiong's permission. During the previous registrations, there were fights in front of Nebula Academy, but they were all caught by Yao Qiong and thrown out of Nebula City. The man in white didn't want to provoke Yao Qiong. Who is this guy? Ningyu slightly knitted his brows and grabbed Xia Qing. Does he like Sister Yao? Xia Qing rolled her eyes at Ningyu's question. She lowered her voice and said, "His name is Baijan. He's a peerless genius of the Frost Metal School. He's a 7th grade sovereign with an initial phase 7th grade soul energy." A 7th grade sovereign is also a peerless genius? Ningyu opened his mouth and said exaggeratedly, "If that's the case, then I'm also a peerless genius? I never thought that I would become a peerless genius one day." Ningyu's words caused everyone to be speechless. This was especially true for Baijan. He was so angry that white smoke was coming out of his nostrils. "Shh! Lower your voice. Baijan is very powerful. Don't underestimate him just because he's a 7th grade sovereign. Ordinary 8th grade sovereigns aren't his match." Xia Qing immediately signaled to Ningyu with her eyes and said, "Furthermore, the Frost Metal School has just merged with the Emperor Palace, becoming a subsidiary of the Emperor Palace." Merged with the Emperor Palace. Hearing that, Ningyu raised his brows and his face turned a little gloomy. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. He had enmity with the Emperor Palace, but the Frost Metal School had merged with the Emperor Palace. Most importantly, the peerless genius of the Frost Metal School had taken the initiative to provoke him. It was truly unbearable even if it could be tolerated. However, Ningyu did not take the initiative to attack. He moved closer to Xia Qing and asked, "What's the cultivation of the strongest expert of the Frost Metal School?" 3rd grade Earth Sovereign. Xia Qing replied. But soon, Xia Qing's face turned vigilant and she said, "Don't be impulsive. Although the Frost Metal School often does shady things, they've already been subdued by the Emperor Palace. You can't do anything stupid." "How could I do anything stupid?" Ningyu was speechless. Xia Qing was too sensitive. If Xia Qing knew that his intention was to wipe out the Frost Metal School, how would she feel? Would she be scared out of her wits? By the way, did the 3rd grade Earth Sovereign of the Frost Metal School come today? Ningyu asked again. He had no choice. This was Star Cloud City, after all. It was safer to make a move after finding out the situation. They didn't come. The leader of the Frost Metal School is a first-grade Earth Sovereign. He's so powerful that even Sister Yao doesn't want to offend him. Hey, what are you doing? Xia Qing explained. However, before Xia Qing could finish her explanation, Ningyu moved toward Baijan. There was a saying that went, "If a tiger doesn't show its power, you'll think it's a sick cat." Ningyu felt that he couldn't tolerate it anymore. After all, he had to display his strength and make some small fries fear him. Chapter 1366. Disgrace. Although Ningyu seemed slow, he was actually very fast. In the blink of an eye, Ningyu had arrived before Baijan. After sizing up Baijan, Ningyu said, "You want to teach me a lesson? What? Do you have any other ideas?" Baijan was slightly stunned and said, "You're just a 7th grade sovereign, yet you dare to take liberties with Yao Qiong? You must be tired of living." At this moment, Baijan was very excited. At the beginning, he was still thinking about how to cause trouble for Ningyu. Who would have thought that Ningyu would come to him on his own accord? "Yao Qiong, you don't have any objections to me teaching this arrogant brat a lesson, right?" Although Baijan wanted to teach Ningyu a lesson, he did not forget where he was. So, he turned around and asked Yao Qiong for her opinion. "I don't mind," Yao Qiong replied with a slight frown. In fact, Yao Qiong had long disliked Baijan. If it wasn't for Han Taiman's Earth Sovereign, she would have kicked Baijan away. Now that Baijan wanted to humiliate himself, how could Yao Qiong stop him? In Yao Qiong's opinion, Ningyu was very powerful. He was only slightly weaker than her. Why not use Ningyu to teach Baijan a lesson? Not only could she teach Baijan a lesson, but she could also see Ningyu's true strength. "Brat, Baijan, do not beat up nameless people." After receiving Yao Qiong's approval, Baijan rejoiced and said, "Tell me your name, I'm sorry, but my name is nameless." Ningyu waved his hand and interrupted Baijan. "Nameless?" Baijan was slightly stunned when he heard Ningyu's words. "Nameless? There's actually someone with this name?" Baijan only reacted when someone beside him laughed. When he reacted, his face turned ashen and drained of blood. This brat is really arrogant. He had said that he would not beat up a nameless person. Now that this kid called him nameless, it was clearly a slap to his face. "I think I heard someone say that they don't fight nameless people. My name is John Doe. Are you going to fight or not?" Ningyu crossed his arms in front of his chest as he looked at Baijan with interest. "You're courting death." After being ridiculed by Ningyu in front of so many people, Baijan's expression became unsightly. He stamped his feet on the ground and quickly charged forward. "Wait." However, right after Baijan took a step forward, Ningyu stretched out his right hand and said, "It's not impossible for me to duel with you, but there must be some stakes." "What prize?" Baijan stopped abruptly. If it weren't for Yao Qiong, Baijan would have already killed Ningyu. Now that Yao Qiong was watching from the side, if Ningyu did not make a move, he would be looked down upon even if he won. "Let me think about it." Ningyu jogged over to Xia Qing's side and asked in a low voice, "Do I need a lot of materials to enter the Tower of Yuzuan now?" "That's right, I need a lot of materials." Xia Qing nodded. "Got it." Ningyu nodded. Then, he jogged over to Baijan and said seriously, "I came out in a hurry today and did not bring anything with me. Furthermore, I want to enter the Tower of Yuzuan." "So, what are you trying to say?" Baijan looked at him coldly. "The prize is the materials needed to enter the Tower of Yuzuan. Prepare a set of materials for me to enter the Tower of Yuzuan. I will be able to use them later," Ningyu said as if he was talking about something very ordinary. "What is your prize?" Baijan's chest heaved up and down, but he forcefully suppressed it and asked, "My prize? What prize do I need? You are the one who insisted on dueling with me. If I lose, you will beat me up, but if you lose, you will only give me some materials. In short, I am suffering a great loss." Ningyu was confused, revealing a confused expression. Pooh! Baijan was so angry that he vomited a mouthful of blood. "How thick-skinned must you be to say such things?" "Fine, I agree." To teach Ningyu a lesson as soon as possible, Baijan gritted his teeth and agreed. Although there were many materials needed to enter the Tower of Yuzuan, Baijan did not think that he would fail. Hence, he did not feel any psychological burden agreeing to it. "Can we duel now?" Baijan said coldly. "Wait a moment." Ningyu waved his right hand. Then, he jogged over to Yao Qiong's side and said, "Sister Yao, did you hear that? If I defeat that Baijan, he'll give me the materials I need to enter the Tower of Ascension." Whoosh! Yao Qiong's right foot responded to Ningyu. Ningyu shuddered and quickly fled. He was still hoping that Yao Qiong would bring him into the Tower of Yuzuan. It was not wise to offend her here. "All right, you can make your move now." After tidying up his clothes, Ningyu stood where he was and hooked his finger at Baijan. Whoosh! Ningyu's action caused a huge uproar in the surroundings. It was one thing for him to look down on Baijan, but he even mocked him in front of so many people. Given Baijan's character, he would definitely not let him off. Where did this brat come from? He even dares to offend Baijan. Baijan has always prided himself as an exceptional genius. In my opinion, he might have run into a nail this time. I'm optimistic about Baijan. I heard that after the Frost Metal sect merged with the Divine Emperor Palace, Baijan was personally taught by an elder of the Divine Emperor Palace. Although Baijan is only a grade 7 mortal sovereign, he can kill a grade 8 mortal sovereign. That brat is in danger. The opinions of the crowd were not too different. They were not optimistic about Ningyu. This is infuriating. Baijan clenched his fists and instantly shot forward. In order to defeat Ningyu as quickly as possible, Baijan used his full strength in his first move. Frost Metal Fist. Strands of cold qi emerged from Baijan's fist and shot toward Ningyu. "Be careful!" Xia Qing shouted when she saw the changes in Baijan's fist. She didn't know why, but she didn't want anything to happen to Ningyu. Baijan's way of doing things was very shameless. "It's fine." Xia Qing's voice resounded in his ears. Ningyu turned around and smiled at her. "You're courting death." Seeing Ningyu turn around, Baijan's expression turned cold as he ruthlessly punched his right fist toward Ningyu. At the crucial moment, Ningyu clenched his left fist and thrust it forward. Bang! In the next moment, what everyone had expected did not happen. Instead, Baijan's fist was unable to move an inch forward. What? What did I just see? Am I blind? You mean you're not blind? That brat did block Baijan's all-out attack. Baijan's all-out attack can even kill an 8th grade sovereign. Just who is that brat? He actually managed to block it so easily? You're asking me? Yeah, I'm asking you. Who the hell am I supposed to ask? In short, the fact that Ningyu had blocked Baijan's attack with his left hand caused everyone to discuss it with astonishment. Although Baijan's strength couldn't be ranked in the pellet formation continent, he could still be ranked among the second-rate geniuses in the Qin Empire. However, a second-rate genius like Baijan was easily defeated by a cultivator of the same realm. Chapter 1367. Sneak Attack. I will kill you. Not only did the crowd not expect this, but even Baijan himself did not expect that Ningyu would block such a powerful attack. Baijan faced the sky and roared. Then, he suddenly pulled back his palm and chopped at Ningyu's neck. Insignificant skill. The corners of Ningyu's lips curled up as he dodged to the side. He grabbed Baijan's wrist with his left hand and exerted some force. Ka-cie. Baijan's right wrist broke. Ah! With his wrist broken, Baijan let out a miserable shriek like a pig being slaughtered. Sorry, I used too much force. Ningyu revealed an apologetic smile as he said, I thought you were very strong, so I used 10% of my strength. If I had known earlier, I would not have used even 5% of my strength. Pooh, 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 pooh. Ningyu's words were very destructive. Baijan vomited several mouthfuls of blood, and the veins on his forehead bulged. Oh? You are going berserk? When Ningyu saw Baijan's transformation, he quickly retreated a few steps. He said in astonishment, This is a little troublesome. If you go berserk, your strength will increase by several levels. I am afraid. I know you are trying to shake my confidence. Ningyu continuously provoked Baijan with words, but it did not have much of an effect. Baijan took a deep breath and calmed down. After calming down, Baijan was somewhat terrifying. Today, I will show you what cruelty is. Baijan grabbed his right wrist with his left hand and exerted force. Kasie. Another melodious sound rang out. However, this time, the melodious sound indicated that Baijan's right wrist had completely recovered. You also know medicine? Ningyu said in astonishment. Anyone who angers me will not have a good ending. Baijan ignored Ningyu's words. He flicked his wrist, and a silver flying sword appeared in his hand. A medial-grade monarch flying sword. No matter what, Baijan was an exceptional genius of the frost metal sect. It was not excessive for him to possess a middle-grade monarch flying sword. To be able to die under its sword is the fortune you've cultivated for 8 lifetimes. Baijan said emotionlessly as he caressed the silver flying sword. What do you mean? We're just sparring. Could it be that someone will die? Ningyu's face was cold as he spoke in a deep voice. Don't worry, I won't kill you. I'll only turn you into an idiot. After he finished speaking, Baijan held the silver flying sword in his hand and dashed out quickly. Chi. Baijan's speed was very fast, so fast that it was terrifying. The flying sword pierced through the void of space, making a hissing sound. Whoosh! At the critical moment, Ningyu's figure flashed, dodging Baijan's fatal attack. Again. Even though Baijan's first attack had failed, he was not discouraged. Instead, he immediately launched a second attack. Rumble! In midair, Ningyu and Baijan continued to exchange blows. Ningyu managed to dodge every attack, narrowly missing Baijan's attack. However, Baijan missed Baijan's attack every time. As time passed, Baijan's mood became worse and worse. Baijan is going to lose, Yao Qiong said. Lose? Baijan is firmly suppressing him, Xia Qing said doubtfully. On the surface, Baijan seems to have the upper hand. However, that is not the case. Yao Qiong shook her head and said, Baijan used his full power in every attack. However, he did not even manage to touch that brat's clothes. Do you know what this means? I got it. Xia Qing suddenly understood. There was only one possibility for such a situation. The disparity between Ningyu and Baijan was extremely large. It was terrifyingly large. Baijan could not even touch Ningyu's clothes, let alone win. Now I'm starting to believe his words, Yao Qiong said calmly. Big Sister Yao, do you really think that he is a grade 8 alchemist? Xia Qing was astonished. Xia Qing knew that Ningyu was very powerful. However, there were many powerful cultivators, but that did not mean that their soul power was powerful. Without a powerful soul power, even if one entered the Tower of Ascension, they would not be able to ascend to the 8th floor. Whoosh! Right at this moment, a cold light tore through the void and silently charged towards Ningyu. Not good! The sudden change caused Yao Qiong's expression to change drastically. Someone had made a move. Yao Qiong's first thought was that someone had interfered in the fight. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that Ningyu had the absolute upper hand. As long as Ningyu was given enough time, he would win sooner or later. It's the frigid metal sect. Xia Qing, who was beside Yao Qiong, also had an unsightly expression. No matter what, Yao Qiong was the one who had participated in this fight. Now, someone actually wanted to interfere. It was clear that this person was making an enemy out of Yao Qiong and the Nebula Academy. Be careful. Although Yao Qiong knew that it was the frigid metal sect that had interfered, she had no way of getting even with them. The cold light was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it had arrived before Ning Yu and was aimed at Ning Yu's heart. What a ruthless heart! Yao Qiong clenched her fist. She could not wait to kill that Grade 1 Earth Sovereign. However, Yao Qiong was clear that with her current strength, it was impossible for her to confront a Grade 1 Earth Sovereign. Not good. Ning Yu was fighting with Bai Zhan. He seemed to be looking for an opportunity to defeat Bai Zhan, but he noticed that someone was ambushing him. Ning Yu's thought process was simple. If the enemy did not offend him, he would not offend them. If the enemy offended him, he would definitely kill them. Bai Zhan, you can't blame me for this. With a cold gaze, Ning Yu took out the red demon sword. Ding! The red demon sword slashed out and forced Bai Zhan's silver flying sword back. Thereafter, Ning Yu brandished the red demon sword and stabbed it towards Bai Zhan's heart. If the enemy is heartless, don't blame me for being unjust. Ning Yu's hearing was very good, so he heard everything that Xia Qing said. I am sparring with a genius from your frigid metal sect, but you seniors are ambushing me. Originally, he felt a little guilty about killing Bai Zhan. However, it seemed like he no longer felt any guilt. Die! He injected the essence in his sea of consciousness into the red demon sword and stabbed it towards Bai Zhan's heart. Swish! The red demon sword was very fast. Bai Zhan could not dodge it no matter how hard he tried. The flying sword stabbed into Bai Zhan's body, emitting a piercing sound. Primordial Spirit Battle Physique. Since time was of the essence, Ning Yu summoned the 10,000 Sacred Flag and summoned the Primordial Spirit Battle Physique to devour Bai Zhan's primordial spirit. Brat, you are courting death. When the Grade 1 Earth Sovereign from the Frigid Metal Sect saw Bai Zhan's primordial spirit being devoured, he became furious and charged out. I have yet to settle the score with you, and you are already coming at me. Ning Yu brandished the red demon sword in his hand repeatedly and forced back the cold light that the Grade 1 Earth Sovereign from the Frigid Metal Sect had unleashed. Then, his body flashed and he started to fight with the Grade 1 Earth Sovereign. Gulp! Seeing Ning Yu's ferocious actions, all the surrounding cultivators, including Yao Qiong, swallowed a mouthful of saliva. That's a Grade 1 Earth Sovereign. It's fine that you blocked his cold light, but you still dare to fight him head-on? Are you tired of living? Chapter 1368. Chapter 1368. Chapter 1368 Pagoda of Transcendence. What did I just see? That brat actually dared to fight against the Great Elder of the Frost Metal School? Yang Song is a pinnacle first-grade Earth Sovereign, only a step away from the second-grade Earth Sovereign realm. A battle between a Grade 7 Human Sovereign and a Grade 1 Earth Sovereign. TSK. I bet that kid won't last 3 moves. 3 moves? In my opinion, that kid won't even be able to withstand a single move. Ning Yu did not retreat. Instead, he advanced and fought with Yang Song, causing the crowd to exclaim in surprise. After all, no matter how one looked at it, Ning Yu was definitely no match for Yang Song. A 7th-grade human sovereign defeating a 1st-grade Earth Sovereign was something that no one had ever imagined. Sister Yao, do you want to? Xia Qing also did not think that Ning Yu could win. His gaze shifted towards Yao Qiong, wanting to seek her help. He killed Bai Zhan. Yao Qiong replied calmly, Bai Zhan is an exceptional genius of the Frigid Metal Sect. He is the hope of the Frigid Metal Sect's rise. Now that he has been killed by that brat, do you think the Frigid Metal Sect will let him go? Let's not talk about whether or not I can save him. Even if I save his life today, The frigid metal school will definitely not let this go. But Xia Qing opened her mouth when she heard Yao Qiong's words. She wanted to say something, but she chose to keep her mouth shut in the end. Yao Qiong was right. Baijian was the absolute genius of the frost metal sect. Now that Baijian was dead, the frigid metal sect would definitely not let the matter rest. He could only blame Ningyu for being too heavy-handed. If Ningyu had spared Baijian's life, there would have been room for reconciliation. As for now, it was a situation where they would not rest until one of them died. Bang! As the crowd exclaimed, Ningyu and Yang Song's fists collided. The two fists collided, and the two figures retreated rapidly. Whoosh! Whoosh! Judging from the distance they had retreated, Ningyu and Yang Song were evenly matched and equally matched. Voila! This situation had obviously exceeded everyone's expectations. Everyone's jaws dropped as they looked at Ningyu in disbelief, as if they had seen a ghost. Am I seeing things? A 7th-grade mortal sovereign and a 1st-grade earth sovereign are evenly matched? You're not mistaken. This is the result. Impossible, I don't believe it. That brat must be pretending to be weak. Right. If I have not guessed incorrectly, that brat's cultivation is at least at the Earth Sovereign realm, or even a 2nd-grade Earth Sovereign realm. No wonder he could kill Baijian so easily. It turns out that he's an Earth Sovereign. Everyone revealed a look of relief. No matter how strong Baijian was, he was only a grade 7 mortal sovereign. If Ningyu's cultivation was at the Earth Sovereign realm, it would be easy for him to kill Baijian, even if he was the weakest 1st-grade Earth Sovereign. I'm actually an Earth Supreme? Why didn't I know? Ningyu rolled his eyes, speechless. He was a genuine 7th-grade human sovereign, but he never expected that he would become an Earth Sovereign in the hearts of the crowd. However, Ningyu did not intend to argue. He knew the gravity of the situation. Through his first fight with Yang Song, he had determined that Yang Song's strength was slightly weaker than his own. Without any external help, Yang Song would definitely die if the fight continued. Sapling, if an expert comes, remember to warn me. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu decided to have a good fight with Yang Song. As the saying goes, if you beat the young, the old will come. Since Yang Song had broken the rules, he did not mind teaching him a lesson. Swish! However, just when Ningyu and Yang Song were about to fight for the second time, a figure suddenly tore through the void and appeared in front of the Nebula Academy. Elder Hu. Yao Qiong was stunned when she saw the figure that suddenly appeared. Then, she said, "Why are you here? Look at what you've done." The old man called Elder Hu fiercely glared at Yao Qiong, then turned to Ningyu and Yang Song and said, "Both of you, if you have any grudges, please settle them in Nebula Academy. This place is better left for them to register." "Alright, Hu Chang, I'll give you face." Yang Song did not make things difficult for Hu Chang. Instead, he moved and walked towards the Nebula Academy. "You see." Hu Chang looked at Yang Song, then at Ningyu. His meaning was clear. "I don't care." Shrugging, Ningyu walked into the Nebula Academy. However, when he reached Yao Qiong's side, Ningyu stopped and said in a low voice, "We agreed beforehand that the resources for me to enter the Tower of the Ascension of you will be provided by the Frost Metal Sect." After saying this, Ningyu did not say anything else and quickly walked into the Nebula Academy. Yao Qiong's body trembled, her eyes filled with disbelief. At this moment, a frightening thought appeared in Yao Qiong's mind. Perhaps Ningyu did not kill Yang Song because he wanted Yang Song to provide the resources for him to enter the Tower of the Ascension of you. As soon as this thought appeared, it lingered in Yao Qiong's mind and could not be erased. With her mind in a mess, Yao Qiong turned and entered the Nebula Academy. Continue with the registration. After dealing with the registration, Hu Chang entered the Nebula Academy to find a way to solve the problem between Ningyu and Yang Song. How troublesome! Along the way, Hu Chang felt a headache. The sect master of the Frost Metal sect was a grade 3 Earth sovereign. Unless it was absolutely necessary, the Nebula Academy did not want to offend the Frost Metal sect. In fact, when Ning Yu and Bai Zhan were fighting, Hu Chang had been watching from the void, waiting for an opportunity to make a move. Unfortunately, Ning Yu was too powerful. He killed Bai Zhan with lightning speed, and even Hu Chang did not have the time to stop it. The reason why Hu Chang stopped the fight between Ning Yu and Yang Song was that he did not want to offend the Frost Metal sect or Ning Yu. The fact that Ning Yu was able to fight against a grade 1 Earth sovereign with his grade 7 Earth sovereign cultivation and even gain the upper hand was enough to show that his background was not simple. Perhaps Ning Yu's background was frighteningly powerful. The Nebula Academy was huge, and there were many complicated buildings. After entering the Nebula Academy, Yang Song walked towards the martial arts practice field. In Yang Song's opinion, he and Ning Yu would definitely have a big fight, and the venue would definitely be the martial arts practice field. Wait! However, Yang Song had only taken a few steps when Hu Chang caught up with him and said in a clear voice, "Elder Yang, in my opinion, there is no need to go to the martial arts practice field to settle the grudge between you two. Just settle it here." There were many cultivators at the martial arts practice field, and Hu Chang did not want to make a big deal out of it. After all, if the matter was blown out of proportion, it would greatly affect the reputation of the Nebula Academy. He must die. Yang Song stopped and said coldly, "Bai Zhan is the future hope of our Frost Metal sect. Now that he has been killed by that kid, our Frost Metal sect will not rest until he is dead. I'm close. I can feel that as long as I ascend to the 8th floor of the Tower of Transcendence, my soul power will immediately increase to the peak of the 8th layer." Ning Yu directly ignored Yang Song's words, and an excited expression appeared on his face. The Tower of Transcendence originally belonged to Ning Yu, and Ning Yu was very sensitive about the Tower of Transcendence. Chapter 1369. Chapter 1369. Chapter 1369, The Secrets of Alchemy. Emperor, it's been 20 years. This is the first time the Yuzuan Pagoda has moved. The middle-aged man's expression was solemn as he murmured, "I don't believe that you were killed just like that. All these years I've been trying to find out who attacked you. Don't worry, I will definitely find you, no matter the price." Sha. Ning Yu had no idea what the middle-aged man was thinking. At this moment, he completely ignored Yang Song's cold words. Instead, he moved his feet and headed towards the Tower of the Ascension of Yuzu, relying on the senses that appeared in his mind. "Where are you going?" Seeing that Ning Yu wanted to leave, Yang Song's expression turned cold. He stomped his feet on the ground and charged forward. "Damn it!" Hu Chang's expression was equally ugly when he saw that Yang Song had ignored his advice and insisted on becoming enemies with Ning Yu. No matter what, he was still an elder of Nebula Academy, and he represented Nebula Academy. Yang Song did not even give him this little bit of face, which made him very angry. Fortunately, his conversation with Yang Song had not been heard by anyone else. Otherwise, how could he put his face if word got out? The more Hu Chang thought about it, the angrier he got. In the end, he even rushed forward. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the Nebula Academy, an extremely special scene appeared. Ning Yu was in front, Yang Song was in the middle, and Hu Chang was at the back. The speed of the three of them was very fast, shuttling back and forth in the Nebula Academy. "Isn't that Elder Hu?" "It is indeed Elder Hu." "Who are the two people in front of him?" "One of them is Yang Song, the great elder of the Frost Metal sect. As for the other one, I've never seen him before. Even a well-informed person like you hasn't seen him. Could it be that he isn't someone from Nebula Academy? Look, Devil Yao is here too." The Tower of Ascension was located in the central plaza of Nebula Academy, so there were many students along the way. Ningyu's group of 3 moved forward at full speed, which naturally attracted the attention of many students. Of course, everyone's attention was initially focused on Ningyu, but as time passed, everyone shifted their attention to Yao Qiong. Yao Qiong was the devil-level student of Nebula Academy. She had always been the one to bully others. Others did not dare to bully her. Now she was actually at the back, and her face was filled with anger. Got it. Suddenly, a student shouted, "It must be the young man at the front who took liberties with Devil Yao." Then, the great elder of the Frigid Metal sect and elder, Hu Chang, helped to chase after him. Now that you mention it, it's possible. Another student who was watching the show nodded and said, "This is the first time Demon Yao has been so angry. What should we do?" The students looked at each other in dismay. No one knew what to do. Of course it's to help the demon. As long as we help the demon catch that brat who took liberties with her, the demon won't make things difficult for us in the future. Yes. That's what we'll do. Go and intercept that kid. Go. Quickly go. If we're any slower, that kid will be captured by Elder Hu Chang and the others. Rumble. The students of Star Nebula Academy rushed forward and chased after Ningyu. They wanted to encircle Ningyu. Moreover, more and more people were coming. Let's go. That kid abandoned the demons. We have to seek justice for them. What? He actually dared to get Demon Yao pregnant. I think he's tired of living. What Demon Yao? You have to call her Sister Yao. Although Sister Yao is usually rough, no matter what, she is still my dream lover. Yao Qiong is your dream lover? Then what are you still standing there for? Hurry up and stop that kid. Teach him a lesson. Damn it, I'll go call people. We must bring him to justice today. The more the matter spread, the more outrageous it became. Poochie. At first, Yao Qiong secretly nodded when she saw the indignant expressions of the crowd. Who would have thought that everyone would slander her innocence? This almost made her spit out a mouthful of blood. Get lost. I'll cripple whoever dares to speak nonsense. Yao Qiong was furious. She felt that she had to stop these people. Let's go. Sister Yao is angry. We have to seek justice for her. Even if we have to go through water and tread on fire, we won't hesitate. Some students who were usually bullied by Yao Qiong hid in the crowd and fanned the flames. I'm so angry. Yao Qiong was so angry that her whole body was trembling. Her chest was heaving up and down. Stop right there. Yao Qiong took a deep breath and roared. Crack, crack, crack. Yao Qiong's roar contained a terrifying yuan qi fluctuation that forced some of the weaker students to retreat. Some of the students who were at the blessed realm even had a few of their bones broken. The cultivation of these spectating students was mostly between the manifestation realm and the low-level sovereign realm. The high-level sovereign realm students of Nebula Academy did not participate at all. Don't let me catch up to you, or I'll definitely kill you. Yao Qiong was so angry that she even burned her blood essence to increase her speed. She only hoped to catch up to Ningyu as soon as possible. Turning back to look at the large group surrounding him, Ningyu's face was filled with black lines. It was beyond his expectations that things would turn out this way. However, seeing that the Tower of Yuzuan was right in front of him, Ningyu would definitely not stop at this time. Speed up. Gritting his teeth, Ningyu raised his speed to the limit. His body turned into a blur as he dashed out. Ningyu's increase in speed had shaken off many low-level sovereign realm cultivators. Even Yang Song and Hu Chang had pulled away from him. Bang! Before long, Ningyu stopped in front of a huge square tower. The Tower of Yuzuan. Raising his head to look at the familiar square tower, Ningyu's eyes blazed. Buzz. After Ningyu appeared, the Tower of Yuzuan seemed to tremble slightly, as if it wanted to suck Ningyu in. What's going on? At this moment, Hu Chang and the rest could no longer care about chasing Ningyu. They all stopped and looked at the Tower of Yuzuan in confusion. This was the first time the Tower of Yuzuan had trembled since Grandmaster Nebula took it out. Crack! When the Tower of Yuzuan trembled for 3 seconds, the space above it suddenly split open, and a blurry figure slowly walked out. It's Grandmaster Nebula! I didn't expect the Tower of Yuzuan's trembling to alarm Grandmaster Nebula. Nonsense, the Tower of Yuzuan belongs to Grandmaster Nebula. Its shaking will definitely alarm him. Swish. After Grandmaster Nebula appeared, he first looked at the Tower of Yuzuan and stabilized it. Then, his gaze shifted and landed on Ningyu. A little special. Master Xingyun's evaluation of Ningyu was only 4 words, and that was a little special. While Grandmaster Nebula was sizing up Ningyu, Ningyu was also sizing up Grandmaster Nebula. A pinnacle 9th grade alchemist, and he's already reached the 2nd step. Ningyu's expression was calm, but his heart was in turmoil. Although there weren't many pinnacle 9th grade alchemists in the entire Sky Demon domain, they weren't few either. However, it would be extremely difficult for these pinnacle 9th grade alchemists to advance to 10th grade alchemist. A pinnacle 9th grade alchemist could be called a pill emperor. If a pinnacle 9th grade alchemist wanted to advance to 10th grade alchemist, he would need to smoothly pass 3 stages. The first stage, chi to liquid. The second stage, chi to pill. Chapter 1370. Ascending the Ascension Tower. In his previous life, Ningyu was a peak 9th grade alchemist on the surface, but in reality, he had reached the stage of breaking through to the Emperor realm. With just one more step, he could become a pill emperor and look down on the Sky Demon region. In the end, he was besieged by 9 powerhouses and fell at the peak of the Sky Demon region. Ningyu did not expect that his disciple, whose talent in alchemy was not particularly outstanding, could reach this step and reach the stage of turning liquid into pills. You want to enter the Tower of Ascension? After a moment of silence, Grandmaster Xingyun asked. That's right, I want to enter the Tower of Ascension. Ningyu nodded. He did not lie. Why? Grandmaster Xingyun's tone was calm, without any emotions. I heard that the Tower of Ascension is very helpful for cultivating soul force. In all these years, no one from Nebula Academy has been able to ascend to the 8th floor, so I wanted to give it a try. Ningyu answered. Arrogant! Who do you think you are? You want to ascend to the 8th floor? Grandmaster Xingyun, please allow me to expel him from Nebula Academy. Even Yao Qiong couldn't ascend to the 8th floor, let alone you. Ningyu's words had clearly angered the crowd. Originally, everyone had a bad impression of Ningyu. Of course, this was all a rumor. After all, Ningyu did not flirt with Yao Qiong, nor did he abandon her. Grandmaster Xingyun's gaze swept across the students. In an instant, many of them chose to remain silent. Angering Grandmaster Xingyun would not end well for them. What makes you think you can ascend to the 8th floor? Grandmaster Xingyun stared at Ningyu and asked. Confidence. Ningyu's answer was very simple, only one word, and that was confidence. Hearing Ningyu's words, many of the students of Nebula Academy showed a furious expression. However, with Grandmaster Xingyun present, they could not do anything. I'll give you a chance to enter the Tower of Ascension. Grandmaster Xingyun waved his hand and the entrance to the first level of the Transcendence Pagoda slowly opened. After the entrance of the first floor opened, Master Xingyun's figure gradually became blurry. He was about to leave. Seeing that Grandmaster Xingyun was about to leave, Yao Qiong said anxiously. Master, I want to go in too. Master Xingyun didn't even turn his head. He waved his hand and said, Sure. Thank you, Master. Yao Qiong's face was filled with gratitude. She snorted at Ningyu and quickly walked towards the entrance of the first level of the Tower of Yuzu. Ningyu's attention was not on Yao Qiong at all. Ever since the Yuzuan Pagoda opened, Ningyu discovered that Grandmaster Xingyun had set up an array formation at the entrance to the first floor of the Yuzuan Pagoda. The array formation was very special. It only allowed the younger generation to enter. If older martial artists wanted to enter, they would be automatically ejected. Oh right. At the entrance of the first floor, Ningyu stopped. He turned around and said to Hu Chang, "Get that guy from the Frost Metal Sect to pay for the materials I need to enter the Tower of Yuzuan. After all, Bai Zhan lost to me in a duel, so it's only right for him to F***ck." Before Ningyu could finish his sentence, he hastily entered the Tower of Yuzuan. He saw Yang Song's gloomy expression and that he was about to make a move. Fight with Yang Song here? Ningyu didn't have that kind of time. His main task was to enter the Tower of Yuzuan and reach the 8th floor. If he fought with Yang Song here, the consequences would be unimaginable. Not to mention the delay, if he incurred Grandmaster Xingyun's displeasure, he wouldn't be able to enter the Tower of Yuzuan. Moving his feet, Ningyu entered the Tower of Yuzuan without looking back. Rumble. After Ningyu and Yao Qiong entered the Tower of Yuzuan, the entrance of the Tower of Yuzuan closed with a loud bang. The first floor of the Tower of Yuzuan was a sealed room. There was nothing inside and it looked rather desolate. Ningyu didn't stop. He went straight to the center of the room, clenched his right fist, and punched the ground. Gotcha! Ningyu's punch was extremely powerful, and its might was extremely terrifying. A huge crack appeared on the ground, and several black figures dashed out from the crack. "What are you doing?" Yao Qiong shouted when she saw Ningyu's actions. "Nothing, I just want to enter the 2nd floor as soon as possible." After entering the Tower of Yuzuan, Ningyu didn't hide anymore. He wanted to enter the 8th floor as soon as possible. In this world, no one understood the Tower of Yuzuan better than Ningyu. Ningyu believed that even Grandmaster Xingyun, his previous life's disciple, didn't know many of the Tower of Yuzuan's secrets. To enter the 2nd floor, we need to wait here for a few minutes. The entrance to the 2nd floor will open automatically. Yao Qiong shouted angrily. Yao Qiong had entered the 1st floor of the Tower of Yuzuan many times. After many tries, Yao Qiong figured out the situation. She didn't need to do anything in the first 3 floors of the Tower of Yuzuan. All she needed to do was wait and she would be able to pass through them. Only at the 4th floor would there be danger. Now that Ningyu was attacking the ground, it actually attracted many black figures. Take a few steps back and be careful. Ningyu took out the red demon sword and slashed at the black figures. The creatures on the first level of the Transcendence Pagoda were relatively weak, so Ningyu quickly killed them. Absorb. After dealing with the black figures, Ningyu controlled the red demon's sword and devoured them. Creak. The black figures disappeared, and the entrance to the 2nd floor slowly opened. Looking at the entrance, Yao Qiong's mouth was slightly agape. She was slightly shocked. In the past, she would always wait for the entrance to the 2nd floor to open. She didn't expect it to be like this. The Tower of Yuzuan is very special. Although we can pass the first 3 floors by just waiting, these black figures are great nourishment. We can't miss them. As if seeing Yao Qiong's doubt, Ningyu explained. Gulp. Yao Qiong swallowed a mouthful of saliva and asked doubtfully, "What are those black figures?" "Soul force wrapped in Yuan Qi." Ningyu said, "The Tower of Yuzuan can help cultivate soul force. Anyone with soul force of any level will be able to cultivate faster. Although the soul force of the black figures in the first 3 floors is weaker, it's still meat. We can't waste it." As he spoke, Ningyu walked towards the 2nd floor. "Those black figures are soul force wrapped in Yuan Qi. So that's how it is." Yao Qiong was shocked. On the 4th floor of the Tower of Yuzuan, a soul figure would appear. As long as one could defeat the soul figure, they would be able to pass the 4th floor. Yao Qiong seemed to be enlightened. In the past, she had to spend a lot of effort to kill the soul figures. Whatever the tower rewarded her, she would passively accept. She had never thought of devouring those soul figures. Since there was nothing wrong with Ningyu's actions, she made up her mind to devour those soul figures when they reached the second floor. She couldn't let Ningyu take all the advantages. After all, in Yao Qiong's opinion, Grandmaster Xingyun had her follow Ningyu in order to keep an eye on Ningyu. Chapter 1371. The first 3 levels, the second level of the Yuezuan Pagoda, lit up. The 2 of them should have entered the second level. Outside the Yuezuan Pagoda, an early-stage manifestation realm student widened his eyes and exclaimed, "Swish!" This student's words attracted everyone's attention. The Yuezuan Pagoda was special. Whichever level was occupied, that level would light up. Now that the second level was lit up, it meant that Ningyu and Yao Qiong were on the second level. What's the big deal? Even a true martial realm martial artist can easily reach the first 3 floors of the transcending pagoda. Yang Song of the Frost Metal sect curled his lips in disdain. The Yuezuan Pagoda was a specialty of Nebula Academy. As the first elder of the Frost Metal sect, Yang Song naturally knew about it. You can't put it that way. The Manifestation Realm student who had just spoken said, although anyone can ascend to the first 3 levels of the Ascension Tower, everyone, including the peerless geniuses of Nebula Academy, spent twice as much time to ascend from the first to the second level compared to Yao Qiong. If you didn't mention it, I wouldn't have thought of it. In the past, Yao Qiong took around 3 minutes to reach the second level. How come she only took a minute this time? That's right. Isn't it a little unrealistic to reach the second level in a minute? Could it be that Yao Qiong sped up to spite that kid? Absolutely impossible. The previous times Yao Qiong entered the Yuezuan Pagoda, she gave it her all and only took 3 minutes to reach the second level. Are you trying to say that the kid showed off his prowess and reached the second level in a minute? Boom. The last student's words caused everyone to look at each other. If that was the case, then wasn't Ningyu too abnormal? Reaching the second level of the Yuezuan Pagoda in a minute was simply unprecedented. The discussions of the students caused Yang Song's face to turn ashen and bloodless. Sabotage. The students of Nebula Academy publicly sabotaged him, which made him very unhappy. Just you wait, the 4th level. You definitely won't be able to reach the 4th level. Yang Song revealed a cold expression between his brows as he said viciously. Swish. At this moment, the 3rd level of the Yuezuan Pagoda lit up once more. It had only been a minute since the 2nd level of the Ascension Tower lit up. The first 3 levels are just appetizers. I wonder when Yao Qiong and the rest will reach the 4th level. Many students stared fixedly at the 4th level of the Ascension Pagoda, waiting to see when Ningyu and Yao Qiong would reach it. At the same time, on the 3rd level of the Transcendence Tower, Yao Qiong had a solemn look on her face as she stared at the stone door that had appeared before her. If I want to enter the 4th floor, I need to defeat the 2 soul shadows behind the stone door. Creak. As Yao Qiong's voice fell, the stone door slowly opened and 2 illusory figures flew out. A soul phantom with 4th-grade soul power? Looking at the 2 soul phantoms that had suddenly appeared, Ningyu was stunned at first. Then, he said in a low voice, as expected, from the 4th floor onwards, every test is different. In the past, Ningyu had also entered the Tower of Ascension and reached the 9th level. From the 4th level onwards, the test they encountered each time was different. The test this time could not be said to be difficult, but it was not easy either. As long as they could defeat a soul phantom with 4th-grade soul power, they would be able to reach the 4th level. Don't look down on the fact that the other party was only a soul phantom with 4th-grade soul power. One must know that soul power was suppressed here. In other words, Ningyu and Yao Qiong's soul power could only reach 4th-grade soul power. If they won, they would enter the 4th level. If they lost, they would have to rest here and would have another chance to challenge in half an hour. Scared. Seeing the change in Ning Yu's expression, Yao Qiong's lips curled. She dashed out and charged towards one of the soul phantoms. I'll go first and wait for you in the 4th level. Before leaving, Yao Qiong did not forget to kindly remind Ning Yu. Let's see how strong Yao Qiong is for now. Ning Yu was not in a hurry to fight against the soul phantom. Instead, he crossed his arms and looked at Yao Qiong quietly. Everyone would change. Facing Master Xingyun, Ning Yu did not dare to let his guard down. 20 years had passed, and if Master Xingyun's temperament changed, he would be done for. Therefore, Ning Yu tried to hide as much as possible. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he would not expose himself. Rumble. On the 3rd level of the Yuezuan Pagoda, Yao Qiong was already fighting with the soul phantom. Yao Qiong's foundation was very solid. Although her soul power was suppressed to 4th grade, it was not difficult to deal with a 4th grade soul phantom. Yao Qiong should be able to defeat this soul phantom in 5 minutes and enter the 4th level. Slightly frowning, Ning Yu murmured, "Let Yao Qiong go first. I'll go later." From the 4th level onwards, the space would be completely different. In other words, even if Ning Yu and Yao Qiong entered the 4th level at the same time, they would be teleported to different spaces. Therefore, there was no difference between entering the 4th level earlier or later. Crack. Time continued to pass, and soon 5 minutes had passed. When the 6th minute arrived, Yao Qiong's soul power turned into the shape of a flying sword and destroyed the soul phantom. Since Yao Qiong had witnessed how terrifying Ning Yu was on the 1st level of the Yuezuan Pagoda, she did not hesitate to devour the soul phantom after defeating it. I'll make a move first. Yao Qiong shot a provocative look at Ning Yu before she went to the other side of the stone door. Look, the 4th level of the Yuezuan Pagoda lit up. Someone entered the 4th level. Don't tell me that Brat and Yao Qiong entered the 4th level together? You better be careful. The light on the 3rd level hasn't disappeared yet. This means that the Brat and Yao Qiong are on the 3rd and 4th level respectively. Then who's on the 3rd and 4th level? Of course, Yao Qiong is on the 4th level, and the Brat is on the 3rd level. The 4th level lit up, and the entire square became lively. Everyone discussed among themselves, but no one was optimistic about Ning Yu. In their opinion, Yao Qiong was the one who entered the 4th level, and Ning Yu was the one who stayed on the 3rd level. What did I say just now? That Brat will return to his original state once he enters the 3rd level. Yang Song finally found a chance to mock him. He sneered. In my opinion, that kid will definitely be trapped in the 3rd level of the Tower of Transcendence until he is teleported out. That makes sense. Surprisingly, no one argued with Yang Song this time. Because everyone had the feeling that great minds think alike. Arguing with Yang Song was the same as denying themselves. No one could afford to lose face like this. Wait, the light on the 3rd level has disappeared. Suddenly, a student pointed at the 3rd floor of the Tower of Yuzu and shouted. Chapter 1372. Pressure. That's right, that kid will definitely be teleported out. When he comes out, should we go up? Of course, why not? We need to teach him a lesson and let him know how powerful our Nebula Academy is. Many students rubbed shoulders and made up their minds. As long as Ning Yu left, they would make a move and teach Ning Yu a lesson. 5 minutes passed. There was no movement from the Tower of Yuzuan. No one was teleported out. 10 minutes passed. The Tower of Yuzuan was still as calm as ever. Ning Yu was still not teleported out. As time passed, the faces of the students became uglier and uglier. 10 minutes ago, they were still clamoring to teach Ning Yu a lesson. Now, 10 minutes had passed, and Ning Yu was still in the Tower of Yuzuan. Elder Hu, quickly contact Grandmaster Nebula and tell him that there's a problem with the Tower of Yuzuan. That's right, Elder Hu, it's been 10 minutes, and that kid still hasn't been teleported out. There must be a problem with the Tower of Yuzuan. It's already a blessing for that kid to reach the 3rd floor. The 4th floor? There's no way he can enter. The students of Nebula Academy still couldn't see the reality in front of them. They all cried out in search of psychological comfort. All of you, shut up. Hu Chang's face was cold as he roared. There can't be a problem with the Tower of Yuzuan. The light on the 3rd floor disappeared, and that kid hasn't been teleported out. There's only one possibility, and that is that he entered the 4th floor. Crash. Hu Chang's words caused everyone's expression to change. Their eyes widened as they felt ashamed. Not long ago, they were confident that Ning Yu would be teleported out. Although 10 minutes had passed and Ning Yu was still in the Tower of Yuzuan, they found another excuse. There was a problem with the Tower of Yuzuan. Now that they heard Hu Chang's words, everyone's faces turned ugly. They felt like they had been f***ed. The one with the ugliest expression was Yang Song of the Frost Metal sect. He was the one who shouted the loudest and even started thinking about how to deal with Ning Yu. Who would have thought that he would get such an answer? Elder Hu, could there be another situation? Yang Song did not give up and continued to ask. Hu Chang glanced at Yang Song and said indifferently, "There is indeed another situation." Yang Song wasn't the only one who heaved a sigh of relief. Even the students looked relieved, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their shoulders. No matter what, as long as Ning Yu didn't enter the 4th level of the Tower of Yuzuan, they wouldn't be embarrassed. However, Hu Chang's following words caused Yang Song and the others to be dumbfounded. Their faces were filled with bitterness. The other possibility is that the first person to enter the 4th level of the Tower of Yuzuan is that kid, and the second person to enter the 4th level is Yao Qiong. Hu Chang swept his gaze across the students and said in a deep voice, "Don't bite off more than you can chew. There is always someone better out there." Got it. After being reprimanded by Hu Chang, many students lowered their heads. At this point, they had no choice but to admit that Ning Yu was indeed capable. It was no wonder why Yao Qiong was so angry, forcing her to enter the Tower of Yuzuan with him. The students of Nebula Academy were reprimanded by Hu Chang, but they didn't feel anything wrong with it. However, when these words entered Yang Song's ears, it caused his face to burn. It was a very uncomfortable feeling. No matter what, he was the Grand Elder of the Frost Metal sect, a first-grade Earth Sovereign. Hu Chang's cultivation was the same as his, but he dared to reprimand him. Damn it, I have to contact the sect master and get him to make a trip here personally. Yang Song's face was cold as he waved his sleeve, shattering a crystal ball. Crack! After the crystal ball shattered, a faint cold light drilled into the void and disappeared in an instant. You have to pay the price for killing someone from the Frost Metal sect, even with the protection of Nebula Academy. Yang Song clenched his fists tightly, and an extremely cold expression appeared on his face. Rumble! The 4th level of the Tower of Yuzuan. Ning Yu was speechless as he looked at the soul silhouette before him. His luck was really good. On the 3rd floor, he encountered a soul shadow, and on the 4th floor, he also encountered a soul shadow. Generally speaking, the soul silhouettes in the Tower of Yuzuan were the easiest to deal with. That's because the soul force of the cultivators that entered the Tower of Yuzuan wasn't weak. Even if their soul force was suppressed to the same level, they would still have battle experience. Under this condition, it wasn't too difficult to defeat a soul silhouette of the same level. With a wave of his wrist, Ning Yu forced out a strand of soul force and blasted it at the soul silhouette before him. Crack! Under Ning Yu's powerful attack, the soul silhouette didn't last long before it was devoured by Ning Yu. The Tower of Yuzuan is indeed a good place to cultivate soul force. After devouring the soul silhouette, Ning Yu didn't stop and directly entered the 5th level of the Tower of Yuzuan. On the 5th level, Ning Yu's test wasn't to defeat the soul silhouette, but to refine a grade 5 elixir. Refining elixirs wasn't a problem for Ningyu. Since the Tower of Yuzuan had already prepared the ingredients, Ningyu only used 5 minutes to refine a grade 5 elixir. If it wasn't for Ningyu's pursuit of supreme grade elixirs, he would probably only need 2 to 3 minutes to refine it. The 6th level of the Tower of Yuzuan suddenly became more difficult. Not only did he have to refine a grade 6 elixir within the stipulated time, he also had to defeat 6 cultivators. 3 soul silhouettes, 3 cultivators formed from Yuan Qi. Without some skill, it would be hard to pass this level, because the cultivators formed from Yuan Qi were all in the 6th grade human supreme realm. The probability of such a test appearing was very low. Even in his previous life, Ningyu didn't encounter many of them. It could be said that if Yao Qiong encountered such a test, she would also be defeated. Refining a grade 6 elixir wasn't a problem for Yao Qiong. Fighting with 3 soul silhouettes wasn't a problem for Yao Qiong either. Defeating 3 grade 6 human supreme realm cultivators wasn't a problem for Yao Qiong either. The only difficulty was doing all 3 at the same time, and within the stipulated time. According to Ningyu's estimation, in the entire Nebula Academy, there weren't more than 3 cultivators that could pass this test. Stipulated time, 3 minutes. A mechanical voice rang in the 6th level of the Tower of Yuzuan. Swish. Hearing the voice, Ningyu didn't say anything and immediately flew out, sat on the round table, and started refining elixirs. Now that things had come to this, Ningyu no longer pursued supreme grade elixirs. As long as he could refine a grade 6 elixir, even if it was a low grade one, it would be a victory. After all, he only had 3 minutes, and Ningyu couldn't afford to squander it. Swish, swish, swish. As Ningyu was refining elixirs, 3 soul silhouettes charged at Ningyu from 3 different directions. Go! With a thought, Ningyu split his soul force into 3 and fought with the 3 soul silhouette. Swish, swish, swish. After the soul silhouettes attacked, the 3 grade 6 human supreme realm cultivators didn't stay idle either. They attacked Ningyu from another direction. For a moment, Ningyu was a little flustered. Chapter 1373. The other me outside the Tower of Yuezuan. Everyone stared at the Tower of Yuezuan suspiciously. A moment later, a student said to Hu Chang, "Elder Hu, the 5th and 6th levels have both lit up. Which level do you think Yao Qiong is on?" Swish. The student's words made everyone's gaze turn to Hu Chang. The fact that the 5th and 6th levels lit up at the same time meant that there were people on both levels. If not for Hu Chang's words, everyone would have assumed that Yao Qiong was on the 6th level and Ningyu was on the 5th. But now, no one dared to say anything. "I don't know either." Taking a deep breath, Hu Chang slowly shook his head and said, "Based on Yao Qiong's previous visits to the Tower of Ascension, it's impossible for her to be on any level." "She can't be on either level? What do you mean?" Yang Song was stunned for a moment before he shamelessly walked over and asked. When Yao Qiong reached the 5th level of the Tower of Yuzuan a few times before, the fastest she used was an hour. Hu Chang explained, this time, when the 5th level lit up, only 40 minutes had passed. Time doesn't mean anything, right? Maybe Yao Qiong's condition is very good today, Yang Song said. I can't rule out that possibility. Hu Chang didn't want to talk back to Yang Song. In fact, Hu Chang didn't say one thing. Grandmaster Xing Yun once said that the higher one's talent, the faster one could ascend the first 5 levels. Yao Qiong's talent was fixed, and her limit was 40 minutes. In other words, if Yao Qiong was on the 5th level, then Ningyu was on the 6th level. What's his background? Why is his strength and talent so abnormal? Hu Chang took a deep breath and murmured, if he could join Nebula Academy, it would be great news for the Academy. Look, someone reached the 7th level. Suddenly, a student pointed at the pagoda and shouted. Following the direction of the student's palm, everyone noticed that the 7th level was shining brightly. Clearly, someone had reached the 7th level. The light on the 6th level hasn't been extinguished, another student yelled. Everyone looked over and saw that the light on the 5th level had been extinguished, but the light on the 6th level hadn't. Everyone was well aware of this situation. Those who were originally on the 6th floor went to the 7th floor, while those who were on the 5th floor went to the 6th floor. The only uncertainty was whether Ning Yu or Yao Qiong was on the 7th floor or the 6th floor. It must be Yao Qiong on the 7th floor, I believe in her, the student who supported Yao Qiong said. I don't think so. That brat isn't simple. After all, he's someone that even Elder Hu and the great elder of the Frost Metal sect couldn't catch up to. Some students who were not afraid of death refuted. Isn't that obvious? Yao Qiong is a pinnacle 9th grade sovereign with a late phase 8th grade soul force. Isn't it natural for her to easily ascend to the 7th level of the Yuzuan Pagoda? The student that supported Yao Qiong sneered. Haha, that brat even dared to kill Baijan. Furthermore, he was able to exchange pointers with the Frost Metal sect's great elder. I believe that the one on the 7th floor is definitely that brat. The students who supported Ning Yu argued. The students of Nebula Academy were instantly divided into two camps. One supported Yao Qiong, while the other stood on Ning Yu's side. The student that supported Ning Yu even said to Hu Chang, Elder Hu, I feel that a peerless genius like that brat should join our Nebula Academy. That's right, we must attract him to Nebula Academy. As long as he joins Nebula Academy, Yao Qiong will have a worthy opponent. She won't bully us anymore. The situation was very clear. The students that supported Ning Yu were often bullied by Yao Qiong in Nebula Academy. Now that a heaven-defying genius that could contend against Yao Qiong had appeared, everyone's thoughts were surprisingly unanimous. They wanted to recruit Ning Yu into Nebula Academy. Absolutely not. The student that supported Yao Qiong said coldly, Nebula Academy's recruitment must go through a strict examination. Although that brat has some skills, he's still lacking if he wants to enter Nebula Academy. The people from the two camps looked like they were about to attack. Hu Chang was having a headache. In fact, he also wanted to recruit Ning Yu into Nebula Academy. However, now that the two camps were opposing each other, it was not good for him to express his support. Otherwise, it would not be easy for him to clean up the mess. Stop messing around. Watch first. Taking a deep breath, Hu Chang said in a clear voice, That brat and Yao Qiong entered the Tower of Ascension this time. Grandmaster Xingyun is watching. If you guys mess around here and Grandmaster Xingyun sees you, you are destined to suffer. Swoosh. Hu Chang's words had a great effect. Grandmaster Xingyun was watching? They were all students of Nebula Academy. If they were targeted by Grandmaster Xingyun, it would not be as simple as suffering. Although Grandmaster Xingyun was not the dean of Nebula Academy, he was the founder of Nebula Academy. Nebula Academy was established less than 20 years ago. For it to be able to develop to this level, it was inseparable from Grandmaster Xingyun. Grandmaster Xingyun was a peak 9th grade alchemist. His alchemy level was already at the peak of the Sky Demon region. In the entire Danqing continent, there were countless martial artists that had received Grandmaster Xingyun's favor. Otherwise, how could Nebula Academy become a transcendent existence in the Thousand-Leaf Empire? In order to win over Grandmaster Xingyun, the current king of the Thousand-Leaf Empire directly bestowed Nebula City to Grandmaster Xingyun. He will never join Nebula Academy. No one noticed that Yang Song's right hand was clenched so tightly that he did not even notice his fingernails digging into his flesh. Inform the sect master. Let him find a way to contact the higher-ups of Emperor Palace. We must put pressure on Nebula Academy. Yang Song crushed another crystal ball and told the Frost Metal sect master everything that had happened here in detail. Only by making preparations in advance could one be prepared. After the quarrel, everyone looked toward the 8th floor. Over the years, many martial artists had reached the 7th floor, but no one had ever reached the 8th floor. Could it be that the record would be broken today? The 7th floor of the Yuzuan Pagoda. Ningyu did not know what was happening outside. He had already reached the 7th floor of the Yuzuan Pagoda. As long as he could advance one step further, he could reach the 8th floor. The 8th floor of the Yuzuan Pagoda contained an ancient array that Ningyu had left behind in his previous life. Once the array was activated, Ningyu's soul force would rise from late-stage 8th grade to peak 8th grade. Apart from the increase in soul force, Ningyu's physique would also be improved by the array. His strength might even rise to peak 7th grade or even 8th grade. Shaking his head, Ningyu discarded the thoughts in his mind. Taking a step forward, Ningyu asked in a deep voice, "What is the condition to enter the 8th floor?" Crack! As Ningyu's words fell, the void in front of him suddenly split open. Soon after, a thin figure slowly walked out from the void. This is. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.